10 seconds left. It's going to come down.
Favor making a third as he looks up. Bacon up, finds the draw. Three. Stunning here from...
Coming in hot and heavy, we're here for the Blue Zulu takeover the SCS Open Qualifiers. My name's Blue Panda, he's Cthulhu, hashtag Blue Zulu coming in. Look, we're coming into the final day of qualifiers for Stage 2. And Cthulhu, there's a lot of excitement coming in. There's been a bit of drama in the NA Rainbow Six scene, but we're ignoring that. We're moving on. We're looking to see who will be taking those final spots going into Stage 2.
Absolutely. Look, the whole bracket is already packed in with quite some few noteworthy teams, and some of the teams that are yet to come up and rise and kind of claim their own name, claim their own title. And honestly, this bracket, the way how it's being set up, I'm keeping an eye out on a couple names for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, coming off of yesterday, we had some rather interesting matches in terms of upsets and potential play, and we know we missed BENFIELD, had a pretty spectacular day on the whole. A team of less than, well, known names coming into the fray and taking some real charge in their matchup. Alpha 1 found themselves outmatched for the most part, and they weren't quite able to keep up going into the second match. Of course, it is the Braction Stack, Chronic Warpass versus Okami, and it was another interesting match between them.
Yeah, back-to-back villas as well, I might add as well. Was definitely quite an interesting sight. Okami putting in quite the hard yards there, and by the conclusion of it, I believe it was them who came out the victor, but it was a tight game with a full overtime as well on top of it all.
Yeah, I mean, a number of those matches went quite deep into that overtime play. And of course, Okami, from what we were told, were able to edge it out. I tried to catch as many of the matches as I could. Unfortunately, it's a bit busy here in the Southern Hemisphere. And Emergence, they themselves had another very interesting run. Interesting a word I'm using a lot today because other words tend to get, it result in me getting told off. But yeah, Mystic Academy, they find themselves down 6-3. And then this happens. Emergence, they start to make mistakes. The cracks begin to show. And it allowed Mystic Academy to claw themselves back into the match. And I mean, one of the key players in that, of course, Natural, having a massive couple of rounds and with a couple of very, very big clutches on top of it.
Absolutely, and to wrap it all up, it was the Nocturnes versus 1HP Esports as well, which shown us some quite solid performances, but overall Nocturnes just showed quite a solid domination, just pulling off some mad plays. Obviously the CL prowess as well kind of coming through, and yeah, at the conclusion it was rather one of the more decisive scorelines comparative to the previous matches in the yesterday's.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Nocturne, they're looking to come in, they're looking to redeem themselves. Last stage did not at all go the way that they wanted it, of course. Finishing things out bottom of that Group D, so now coming in, looking to get themselves back into Stage 2. They want to be the ones determining pace. They want to be the ones dictating things. And speaking of pace, we do have the qualified teams for you on our screen. Group A, composed of Wichita Wolves Academy, Investigation, File, and Achieve at the moment. Group B, One Shot, Wichita Wolves, the main roster, Aerial Rise. C, Gashes, Goons, Mystic, and Chess Club. And Group D, Aerial Academy, Khan & Co. and West Garfield. 4 spaces remaining coming out of the qualifiers, of course. Who will be joining as the 4th team in these groups, do you reckon, Cthulhu?
Oh, that's a big question, honestly, here. I'm definitely keeping an eye out on Eclectic, a team that kind of felt underappreciated, or rather kind of went under the radar of a whole lot of people, but they have the possibility of just absolutely blasting through all of this. Nocturnes have a good chance about it. I'm definitely curious how will the whole matchup, and rather the matchup story for women's BENFIELD as well, would go out, but maybe Okami, or rather ex-Okami, would be able to pull off some mad plays as well, albeit given that the yesterday's matchup's been a little bit tighter for them. Look, maybe a few question marks could be raised today as well at the beginning.
Well, I mean, the most interesting thing, so there are 4 spots remaining, 4 arms of the bracket that we'll be looking to follow on through, which does mean, Cthulhu, Eclectic and Nocturnes, only one of the teams can make it through and take that spot. So both teams looking to redeem themselves from last stage. Eclectic, they had a pretty brutal run. The only wins they were able to pick up was over Soup, of course, but they still unfortunately got knocked down into that lower half bracket, couldn't proceed. And they're probably hoping to get some revenge here today. But I mean, across the the way, there's a number of different teams that could be good. You're looking at Okami, you're looking at Outlast, looking for a bit of revenge given what's happened over the last couple of days. And then look, my personal favorite team, of course, Goomba Gang. Not necessarily because of the players involved, but their name. It's going to be one that I hope to say on broadcast at some point.
Well, we do have already our first matchup on our hands. It is looking to be We Miss Benfield versus Judgment Day. On the side of We Miss Benfield, it's Banzera, Turbo, Ashiana, Brid, and Packer. And on the side of Judgment Day, Lobin, Bry, Arrow, Riot, and Jolton. Both teams looking to be quite promising. Judgment Day, obviously, going into this, they have quite a few noteworthy names, and overall, quite excited to see who will end up coming out the victor out of all of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rather interesting matchup, of course. Benfield is a little bit less known. Yes, there are some names that you will be familiar with in the Tier 3 scene at ANZ. But, I mean, you look at Arrow, you look at Riot, you look at Jolton, even Bry to an extent as well on Judgment Day. This is a bit of a stacked matchup. So Benfield are going to have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I am quite curious, though, to see what kind of maps we are going to be seeing from them, purely for the fact that, I was told that, I believe it was Judgment Day, that are quite packed in with some strategy knowledge as well, so quite keen to see what could be played out here. Map veto's already upon us. It is looking to be Cafe Dostoyevsky, Chalet, and Clubhouse as a decider. So already two maps that do require quite a fair bit of coordination, that require quite a fair bit of strategical knowledge, as well as that to have a keen eye for some cracked shots as well. So look, I'm excited to see what could be done, especially with the fact that Judgment Day are going on the defense on the first map. So I'd say we got quite a banger on our hands.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. On top of that, you've got Judgment Day taking the favored side to kick off both Cafe and Chalet. So they're starting on defense on Cafe, which is the preferred side for most teams, and starting on attack on Chalet, which is where a lot of teams do like to be playing. So I know, at least for us, those of you that don't know, Blue and Kasulu, we're ANZ casters, so we see a lot more of that region than we do of North America. But in ANZ, we've seen this trend of teams start on the favoured side, they transition into the second half, and they can't quite close it out. The team that starts on the weaker side is able to have that stronger finish. So, I mean, look, that could come into play here. We could see We Miss Benfield upset just a little bit, being able to bounce back in that second half, but stranger things have happened in the world of Rainbow Six Siege, especially when North America is involved.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Look, I'm just keen to see some big highlights, because obviously it is going to be quite a change of pace, especially for the two of us, given the sheer amount of ANZ action that we got to witness in 2021, going into 2022, starting things off with some North American plays as well. I'm quite keen. Cafe is one of those maps that does allow you to be either very active and allows quite a thorough amount of roaming for the defense and a very flexible gameplay for the attack, but also does allow on certain sites to be a little bit more of a turtle-like setup. You can also obviously go into the sites like reading and dining and just play for hunker down, have some presence upstairs, and then go from there on. Or you could just flat out play it like Call of Duty and just try to frag out like it's none of your business. So honestly, yeah, a solid starter for our day today as well. So Cafe is bound to be just an absolute banger.
Well, I mean, it's also a map where awareness is a very important thing. If you are not aware of what's not just going around horizontally, but vertically as well, we can see teams punished, especially on the attack. Nitro cells are going to be a big talking point, especially if we head down to that first floor bomb site. And, well, I can hear a certain noise, Cthulhu. I know what's going on. We're about to jump on into the operator veto. Love being here with SCS and NerdStreet. This graphic in particular, one of my favorites that Old Firm has thrown together.
Yeah, the whole graphics package is an absolute banger, so big shout out and big love to Ferme. But yeah, look, for Cafe Dostoyevsky, one of the operated bands that has been, at least within ANZ, quite frequent, I believe, was, I was just about to say Thatcher. It was either Thatcher, funnily enough, or I'm tempted to say Nomad. So possibly we could be seeing something of a similar line. Maybe even something like a Jackal, given the fact how powerful he can be at wedging out some of the positions, but instead it's going to be Flores. So all of that safe area, or rather denial of the utility from the safe space is no longer there. You have to be up close and personal with something like Kali, or better yet, start bringing in a Maverick. Bans-wise on the defense, well, Valkyrie, understandably so, she introduces far too much of the flexibility in the information gathering game, and being able to hide her webcams certainly does help things a whole lot. And as our final one comes about, it is going to be, well, the one and only, the Spaniard, the Mirror, that is going to be going out of the equation. So no more of the kind of safe space info gathering through those windows, no more of those cheeky setups with only one wall reinforced, which would allow you to safely peek knowing full well whereabouts is your enemy. So all of that kind of is a relatively expected, relatively understandable ban phase here for both of the teams.
And as we are looking to dive on into it, Cthulhu, we're heading straight up to the third floor. Gonna get ourselves a cheeky drink. It may not make sense for you guys over there in North America, given that, you know, it's winter right now. But over here in ANZ, both of us are in New Zealand. It is currently very warm. So look, I don't blame them. I'm keen to go get me a drink too.
Yeah, getting on the bevies, possibly, or at least after all of this. Interestingly enough, we are seeing quite a standardized kind of setup in the operator's pick for the defense for Judgment Day, introducing Goyo as well as the duo of the, well, not utility, the projectile denial, the Jaeger and the Wamai, topping it off with a Cade, and the Smoke looking to be quite keen to just keep on contesting each and every bit of the map. But straight off the bat, we already see the big difference between, as well, NZ and NA. Full reinforcement of the freezer wall, so no rotations in between the bathroom and the freezer, which is going to mean that the once, say, a player does get stuck in the bathroom, that is going to be a bit of a expendable position, or rather attempt to fall back through the white hallway.
I can see why, though. They're looking for that early aggression out of the bathroom with the Vulcan shield set up, and Loban looking for more aggression on top of that. Not going to find it just yet. Interesting drone play here from Sam. Bit of parkour, back up, back down, picking it up again, looking to redeploy.
Oh, absolutely. Looking to set up a few more cheeky positions here and there. Interestingly enough, for Arrow, he might just be able to help out with the hold on towards the cocktail lounge, which is something that we, at least with the NZ, haven't seen a whole lot. Arrow actually could do quite some damage, and it seems like the Twitch of Ashiana will bail out from that spot, opting out of trying to contest against the Vector. Two-man roam, and it's, funnily enough, it is the Cade that is actually roaming. Usually the operator that, at least I personally, grown accustomed to seeing being the anchor, and instead he is attempting to be the one to dish out the damage on the roam, but it's actually Jolt to pick up the first blood.
Man-Kisser Jolton with the first kill on Ashiana, takes down the Twitch, which would have been absolutely huge in trying to deal with some of this setup in terms of the defense. Getting a nice Twitch drone down with laser drone now to deal with that Vulcan shield. Any of the Vulcan shields could have been huge, but Sam with a massive headshot on Debray equalizes the player count.
Sam absolutely just plowing for Bry, not leaving any chance whatsoever, but fully well known about the position. Package Star trying to get into a bit of a gunfight, but instead it's Turbo Vamp that gets the better of Arrow, and already the man disadvantage is there. We miss Benfield. Slowly but surely getting things underway. Oh no, Riot nearly caught these hands as well.
Right, wondering what the hell was going on there. Backed himself, knew that he could probably survive it, and did at that. Going into the final 50 though. The lines in the sand are drawn. Judgment Day down a player. Could find themselves in a pretty tough spot once that execute does come, especially given that now Packer has jumped in onto the cocktail balcony. They have a lot of angles to work with. Loban equalizes, bring it back to 3 versus 3. Down to the final 30, and the tension's mounting in this situation. Limited utility. In fact, it's just that single nitro cell in the hands of Loban to try and deny from below. Right, backing himself into cocktail. Sam on the plant. Coverage needs to be there. Packer spotted, but he does get the re-swing and finds the follow-up kill. No chance at it denied. The defuse goes down. Loban there for 1. Can they find more? No. Jolton dropped as the prone form of Sam sprays away Loban. Shut down as well, and we miss Benfield. Kick things off here on Cafe with a very commanding round.
Yeah, very solid performance despite things getting a little bit dicey in the midway section of the round. But overall, they did a solid job, organized the crossfire perfectly well, despite the fact that Jolton nearly managed to get the better of the planter, but thanks to the Zafir of Banzera, it was pretty much impossible to stop that plant at all. So, well, very well done. And we are going to be switching over to kitchen service and cooking, as it seems like Judgment Day certainly not really feeling like retrying the bar after that kind of a beating that was just handed into him.
Resilience needs to be shown here by Judgment Day if they want to bounce back. They're going to make the decision to jump down into that first floor as well. They're not going to try and go for that reattempt. They want to refresh themselves and get themselves that first round on the board. A couple of roster swap, oh no, not roster swap, operator swaps. It is handed around. Apparently, Loban might, despite what was a very fantastical round from him, is okay, because you and I can relate to what he's going through right now.
And Loban is having a fun time. Not too sure what's happening with the poor man, but look, overall, be a bit of a
that's
problem.
That's not fun.
Yeah, this lagging just did. Rather unfortunate. The rest in pieces, my man. But look, yeah, still Loban was able to put out quite some numbers despite some of the lag issues. So honestly, if the man can perform like this with some bit of a ping, then yeah, why not? Arrow. Once again, the Cade pick is coming about yet again in hopes of trying to find something, but second time in a row, unfortunately can't find any frag whatsoever. But I am loving this kind of roam, very active play from Judgment Day. They not locking themselves into one singular position apart from the two anchors usually here and there, but the rest of the team just trying to be as unpredictable as possible, and something that they could certainly play off quite well, given that a lot of standardized strategies do involve you to play very passively, very static. So Loban could find some good plays, especially off the back of Arrow if he gets into a crossfire. But funnily enough, well, Women's Benfield don't even need to care about it, as they're already getting the breaches into the bakery and the first frag upon them.
Jolted, another massive headshot with that SMG-11 using the toxic canisters. He's not backing off though. Is wanting to contest these angles, knows that he has some coverage, having locked down that service entrance, has the temporary barricade, I suppose, of the bench in front of him as well. So there's a little utility that is now stalling out Miss Benfield, but it is early enough in the round. If they drain it soon, they could push in and make that plant happen once again.
So already some early gas grenade usage coming in as well, and Jolt picking up actually a double already. Just his position is borderline impossible to take out. The info comes around. No, Ash also still ends up dying, and finally Jolt is down, but already the damage has been dealt. 1v4. It's all down to Paka, and right now it's just all things going wrong. Grenade gets eaten up, and then cops the bullet to the head. So it's like that, a much more decisive turnout for Judgment Day, whereas for Women's Benfield, well, things took quite a sideways turn there halfway down the line.
Ash on the drone, on his own drone in kitchen, spots Jolt, and was like that guy in every war movie who's like, I got this, I'm going, and immediately steps on a landmine and just got obliterated jumping off cams as Jolt gets aggressive and takes him out. And Judgment Day, as much as they lost that first round in a decisive manner, they answer back with a very, very decisive round of their own down on the first floor. They now head back up to the third floor. They've reset themselves mentally. They're going to reattempt, and I would not be surprised if they take this one handily.
I mean, we've heard a whole lot about all the things about first round jitters, you know, trying to adapt and adjust to what will be the general pace of it, trying to figure out what kind of setup their opponents they're running. So for Judgment Day, yeah, 100%, they could certainly make a big play of that. Defense is certainly the side that should be the one to gain them the points as well. So overall, I kind of rate it so far. Curious how will this kind of, I suppose, second iteration of bar defense is going to be coming about, given that in general, well, bar can be a bit of a 50-50 coin toss depending on how well can you how well are you prepared for all these things, and how much do you deny the information game, seeing as Packer was just able to park up the drone, I think, just right below, so they know exactly that, at the moment at least, train and machinery area is a little bit clear, so maybe that could be the main pressure point to begin with, but it seems so far it's about the same setup, including Ash trying to drone out the pillars area.
I want to find this information nice and early. Cams as well, a key part of it. When the Twitch is online, take out those key camera positions, allows a little bit more freedom for the attackers moving in, but Loban with a nice nitro cell, taking out Turbo Vamp, and I believe, surely not. Surely that was not no, okay, so he would have thrown it through, he would have dropped the hatch. I thought it was like some massive brain pre-place from down and dark, but no, it's a big kill nonetheless.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Getting the better of Turbo Vamp is absolutely a huge turnout, and that's, well, if not for soft breaching, that's a solid amount of frag grenades as well out of the equation, meaning way less utility to get rid of some of those Goyo shields, and in saying that, those could be used at a later date by the defense to deny some of the area. So as of now, still plenty of time, so Women's Benfield could certainly make a bit of a rotation, reassess their positions, reassess their situations, and then go on from there. But it's interesting to see that there's not a whole lot of Windows pressure as well from any of the attackers, so it's much more kind of use the Twitch drones, try to utilize it to the absolute maximum, and then go from there, because apart from that, only it's a bit of a almost too passive play from Women's Benfield, especially on the piano room.
Honestly, my biggest
wait,
question
how's Packers
is,
allowed? Wait,
yeah, he's just snuck on through. He's taking Cigar Belk. He might even be able to sneak into the site itself right now. He's watching the cover, making sure that there's no one to, retake that position on Pixel. There's just so much ground now being given. And Packer, last time he came through that window that Ashiana is primed on right now, frag grenade tossed towards the cocktail. And Riot's going to cop some more damage once again. But he's going to hold on for now. He's not out of the equation just yet. And heading to the final 40, something's got to give. And it's looking like it might be Benfield.
Yeah, Benfield at the moment slightly stalling out, but there's so many breaches already coming about. No, the X-Kairos charges get shut down as well. Packer already had such an influential position, but unfortunately couldn't do much of it. And once again, an attempt to get the breach, but so much damage is now being compounded. Judgment Day are just on the roll.
Ashiana swings in, takes down Riot, who is holding things on Cocktail, but Banzera doubling down, brings it even. Unfortunately, they have no idea of Aero's position. Loban as well there for Banzera. It's just all coming apart. Loban, despite ping issues in that first round at the start of the second, redeeming himself well and truly. This is form that you want to be heading if you want to win the map.
Absolutely. Oh, man. Bit of an unfortunate turnout, really, for Women's Benfield. So many open opportunities there for them that Judgment Day just completely did not even account for, given that, look, Benfield had them dead to rights, honestly, with where Packer was. Even just a simple swing could have cleared out at least part of the cocktail lounge, which allowed somebody like Ashiana to just make a much more confident swing. But unfortunately, just things didn't go the way. They didn't have enough of the information, or rather maybe even the timing was off. And from there on, just things kind of went into the whole snowball effect there. So in saying that, look, still a solid attempt. 2-1 those scoreline in favor of Judgment Day. Sounded like we may be looking at possibility of something across the lines of maybe a 4-2 if Benfield won't be able to recover themselves from this kind of already starting to compound loss streak of 2 rounds.
Now, Cthulhu, I have a question. And I want chat to think about this one as well. Yeah. If we miss Benfield, get knocked out of the qualifier, do they then play as we miss Benfield next qualifiers?
No, but that would mean that's a double negative.
No, because we miss Benfield the team. So
right.
Would they miss the team we miss Benfield themselves, or would it just be they carry on missing Benfield?
I think they might just carry on. But actually, yeah, you do make a good point there. You do make a good point there.
I just gave someone a migraine and I'm here for it.
Yeah, migraine plus a mild brain aneurysm. But look, outside of all that, I'm looking at the setups that Judgment Day are going for. See,
Emma's
I
already
slightly
regretting bringing us on for the broadcast. I can just feel it. He's sitting there at his production booth thinking, why did I let these idiots come on this show? But we know why.
yeah.
Blue Thulu on top.
Blue Thule on top. Blue Thule to the moon. Yeah. Look, to get back to the actual round though at hand. Same setups, literally quite the same thing, minus a few more reinforcements. This is an attempt to just make a top floor defense a whole lot more competitive, but already a much quicker entries of fear of Banzera, making a quick entry, clearing out some of the utility. Funnily enough, Judgment Day players opt out of trying to go for a close contention and rather just falling back slowly but surely with minute 40 to go still quite a fair bit of time for the attack, so it could be a little bit rough. Turbovamp expecting that there's going to be someone on the brown stairs that could pose a threat. Guns are coming about. There's the call, and already that's a twist run. So much utility as well to clear out some of those electronics could be big.
But you look at the positioning, Turbovamp in mining. He's going to be able to chuck that frag grenade in through the fireplace packer above. They are making good movements towards the sites itself. With Packer above, if he finds the right angle, if he can find a pick here, would completely cripple the defense that Judgment Day are looking to hold on to, and that shot is going to reveal positioning. So if Packer chooses to get aggressive here, could shut down a lot of that vertical hold.
Absolutely. It's all down to the information game as well. That could be big. Sam already gets a big opening here. Could possibly walk in, but Arrow should have a nice angle on the white stairs as well. At the moment, it's looking like it is looking to be a bit of a collapse onto the dining side. There's not a whole lot of pressure being put onto the B side of Reading, but already some long-range gunfights do erupt. Lobin is the one to pick up a frag, and already Ashiana nearly goes down, but so much damage being exchanged between the two teams at the moment.
Unfortunately, Packer is just too late to the party as Bry and Loban find themselves two more. Packer finds one before he goes down to Bry again. Another quick trade going back the way of this Benfield, and unfortunately jolted. It was a little bit quieter that round. Shuts it down, getting himself one on the board. Despite the best efforts, Benfield just find themselves outpaced in these rounds.
Outpaced is, yeah, probably the best way to really describe it, given the fact that, yeah, look, for Benfield, it seems like the time management is just not really working out in their favor. They seem to be attempting to be a little bit more thorough with some of their drones. They seeming to be a little bit hesitant to take some of the gunfights. Borderline even feels like occasionally they like an unintentional baiting as well with some of their teammates trying to find some form of just opener for themselves, but the opener doesn't present. The beauty of how Judgment Day play so far is they are playing a relative flexible game, especially on, say, a site like Reading and Dining, but they're not overexposing themselves. They're not the ones trying to take essentially the aggression first. But given they are on defense, well, all they need to do is just wait for the attackers to come to them. And honestly, all of the setups so far have been very much favorable for them, despite some of the early openings, despite some of the early breaches. It feels very accounted for by Judgment Day, whereas on the side of Women's Benfield, it's just, maybe it's the mental game that is not there. Maybe it's the hesitation. I can't really yet put a finger on it, but it's certainly, maybe it's the communications that are currently lacking, and they're just trying to take this kind of as solo/duo kind of play, ranked style.
Look, I think I have a theory as to
go on.
why Judgment Day are playing the better seed. And it comes down to a name. Man Kisser Jolton. Man's given homies kisses. He's given the homies a +5 boost. It's the homie kissing. You got to back your boys, and it's just that little bit of extra love that Judgment Day have on their side, backing the boys, backing the team. And that's why they're up 3-1 right now, and they're looking to do even more. Electric dealt with. We do have a bit of a mute bug, but who cares? We'll carry on. It's easily fixable. We just got to wait and find someone's drone and let it get shot. Come on, Ash. Come on. Let the drone get shot. Fix our bug. But right now, they're looking. There we go.
Hey.
It's fixed. Good observing. 10 out of 10.
Dub. dub has been procured and acquired. Jolt is back into his position. Last time he was playing here in the kitchen, he was able to acquire a quick cheeky double kill and being able to hold things down, hold the fort quite well overall. But at the moment, things are taking a little bit of a turn. His ballistic shield at the double window has been destroyed, meaning that, well, his operations area is a little bit tighter now, but no breach yet, not a whole lot of contention, and not a whole lot of attempts at breaching, given the fact that the Cade Claw is still in place. So it's a full-blown just swing, and swing it will be. Turbo Vamp is the one to claim the kill onto Jolt finally.
Manchester Jolton's down, unfortunately, in limited utility because of a Logan! Steps out, says, and you can't kill my boy like that. It is going to have to be Retribution, and Retribution there was another deployed Electro Claw. Means that Small Bakery isn't the point of contention. Look at that! Riot 2 through service. And all of a sudden, it's come apart. The man kissing his help. The +5 boost is in play. Sam does get one onto Loban, but it's too little too late. The 3 versus 2 in the positions, you look at the crossfires that are being established. Ash and Sam have a tall task ahead of them, and with that jump out the window from Ash, means Sam is on a bit of a solo crusade for now. And Bri, look at the positioning. Sam, looking into Kochek, has an idea. They're going for a bit of a pinch here, but the timing could be off. If Bri goes for a swing, he's going to spot the player on the window, swings out, but they do coordinate it well enough. Going into the final 35, Cthulhu, 2 versus 2 might be doable.
Yeah, still a workable situation, given the fact, though, that they now have both of the players, both of the attacking players inside the building. They could go for a few more pincer maneuvers, but at the moment, the 2 Judgment Day players also have their backs as well. Playing for a bit of a long-range crossfire as well. Riot and Arrow could do quite some damage, but already 15 seconds remaining. The push needs to happen. It's 2 1v1s that need to be won. C4 is out. No damage, just a little bit to force Sam off the position. There's the swing. Riot is the one who gets the better 1v1 situation. 3 seconds left to go. Arrow just needs to stay alive, and he will be playing for the time. Perfect turnout for Judgment Day, as, well, that has to be one of the closest rounds so far, but unfortunately, just not in favor of the attack.
If there was any doubt, kiss your homies goodnight, because now Judgment Day are up 4-1. We miss Benfield, might miss the mark here on Cafe Dostoyevsky. One more round would secure the 5-1 lead for Judgment Day, which would give them that opportunity to close the map out that much quicker. We miss Benfield. They want that 4-2. They've got one last chance to secure it going into the half.
Absolutely. 1-4 scoreline. Seems to be rather solid for Judgment Day. The only opportunity here for Women's Benfield on the first half is the 4-2 scoreline to try to just shorten up that buffer just a little bit more, and rather unfortunate overall turnout for them. They started off so well in round number 1, managed to pull off a solid execution overall, but it was off the back of just certain hiccups from Judgment Day, and after that, the moment the defense kind of tweaked their few performances, it just worked perfectly from there on. And at the moment, I'm not too sure if there are any stops planned for Judgment Day train, because they are just absolutely plowing through. And I gotta point out, Loban has been doing so good for the team. He's been kind of one of those big driving forces for the roster. Him and Jolt just doing some solid plays, and I gotta point out Loban's Melusi / Cade plays quite commendable overall. Just the 2 ops that, well, with Melusi, yeah, with Cade, something that I haven't yet grown accustomed to. Let's just say that.
Well, actually, Observer, what ping are we on for Loban right now? Is he all right? Can we get a quick cheeky look at the scoreboard? Hey, back down to 54. Doable. Entirely doable. So all those issues that were plaguing at the start. Loban! He's fixed him. He's cleaned him up, and he's Packer in the box. Sent him off with a nice little stamp. That is a quick and a clean kill, and that's going to be hugely decisive in helping them pick this round up.
Just absolutely huge opener there. Once again, this time it's Packer that is out of the equation. That's so much utility gone and out. First of all, frag grenades. Second of all, the Iana replicators as well. Just so much information game could be lost out. But that won't be stopping Ash anytime soon. One of the Cade Claws already ridden off, so that's an opener into the freezer from the piano now. Ensured at least to a certain degree. But apart from that, no presence in piano yet. No presence on the windows. That's the most confusing thing, given that we've seen, at least with an ANZ, so many teams contesting the windows, but instead it's just a full-blown send, actually. No presence in the heaven, and Banzera already equalizes the man count.
I mean, it's 1-for-1 on this site at the moment, so whoever wins this closing out the half will take that win, I suppose, when it comes to the third floor right now. We're heading to the second half of round number 6. And watch your angles, watch your crosses. Loban handed 2 as a freebie for his third in the round. Watch your crossfires, guys. Don't walk in front of people when they're aiming.
Not the best turnout at all. I was about to possibly comment that Sam could possibly be yet again in that 1vx situations, but no, he is the one that gets taken out rather quickly. Ash and Turbovamp against 3 players of Judgment Day. We've seen similar turnout before, and Judgment Day were able to just absolutely hold the fort. Already gas grenades are starting to also come about. Still one more for Jolton, but with 45 seconds remaining, it still leaves a bit of a buffer in time to go for a few swings. Loban with an absolutely disgusting angle to hold on to as well could do quite some damage here.
Well, 30 seconds now remaining. Ash looking to sneak on up, take some ground. Drone taken care of, and Ashiana as well. Loban on for the ace, despite having those earlier ping issues in the half. Are they going to feed it through to him? 3 players versus the 1. 13 seconds to play. Benfield might even just try and deny. Loban goes to the shots under the cigar door. They're playing the clock. The discipline showing here. What can you do? Shots ringing out and right. Takes the final kill. Judgment Day with a massive 5-1 half. Loban with a massive quad kill to close it out as well. Judgment Day are hitting their stride, and Benfield are missing.
Yeah. Benfield is seeming to be absolutely just stopped in their tracks. No chances given whatsoever for them to make any sort of advancements. And yeah, a 5-1 scoreline is just absolutely insane, including the fact that Loban has been just absolutely popping off. And I gotta say, Benfield needed to be a whole lot more aggressive against that kind of active play from the defense of Judgment Day. Things should have been a whole lot more contested, but alas, fortunately, that was not meant to be happen, or rather, didn't happen. And well, maybe for Benfield, they might just be able to do this in the second half, pull a bit of a comeback, or maybe Judgment Day will just be able to wrap it all up. They need only 2 more rounds, and after that, that's Cafe Dostoevsky all done and dusted, which is a interesting prospect about it all, given that it's I think it was actually Benfield's map pick, which is the most curious, right? We'll just call it that. English is hard. It's quite hot. I would imagine it's like about 38 degrees Celsius at the moment in the room. And
you can't be throwing around words like Celsius in a North American competition.
Oh yeah, my bad. Let me
they
real
don't
quick
understand
do
it. It's really hot. There you go. That's all you need.
It's really hot. We're talking 86 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll call it that.
Yeah, but with high humidity, so like Florida swamp heat.
Either way. Going into this round.
It's alright. We love the North American. No hate, no flame.
I do want to quickly point out, though, the difference in Judgment Day's attack and Women's Benfield. Women's Benfield stuck out with quite a standardized pick of operators, where they just flat out wanted to cover as much of the soft breaching, a little bit of info gathering plus utility denial, and then some hard breaching in here. Judgment Day are bringing in a much more flexible lineup, including the Finker, which should be able to correct some of the issues, some of the mistakes, should they need to be corrected. And we're finally seeing some Windows pressure. Funnily enough, not a single person is even tempted to go downstairs to try to flank out the rappel onto the west side of the piano. So at the moment, free real estate for Judgment Day, and they are looking to clear it out as much as possible, really.
That's the ideal. They are doing good work. They're clearing out of this utility. They haven't sacrificed any significant health. Okay, I say that as Loban drops. Does get the down onto Banzera in that engagement. Unfortunately, with no Finker remaining in the round, the sustainability for Judgment Day is limited.
Absolutely. With Loban, though, out of the equation, things are going to be looking a little bit more dire, given that's the, quote-unquote, the big carry of Judgment Day now. Out of the equation, Banzera will be a little bit hurting, and no way of healing it up will also possibly be a bit of an issue. Packers, his position is just so well reinforced, it is borderline impossible to get much of an action, and right now, Bry, as soon as the information is going to come about the presence of Pakistan, it could be absolutely devastating for the Wamai player, but at the moment, Judgment Day trying to wrap around the whole idea about the whole positioning, and there's the information. Oh, there's the down as well, and there's the finisher. Arrow waiting downstairs.
Arrow just sitting there. You got me a present, guys! Or did he see the gun? No, he didn't.
Oh.
Sam is just tucked in on cocktail belt right now. Air jab goes out. This could be a massive swing for Sam. Presented opportunity, whiffed opportunity. Arrow somehow still alive, but it's two quick cat frags going the way of Benfield. A third there for Ash, and it's just down to Arrow, who may have survived moments ago. Has no health to his name. He's going to swing out, spot, and shut down Benfield. On the defense now, have flipped the switch. They are in control.
There we go. That's something that we did talk about a little bit before, saying that, look, we could possibly be seeing that bit of a turnaround on the defense once things do come about, once things do start working more so in favor of kind of down pace performance from Women's Benfield, given that their attack was a little bit of a more of a passive turnout, which is something that a few teams do end up having happen to them. Whereas on the side of Judgment Day, they tried to almost brute force it on a couple of the positions, got pretty much punished rather heavily, and kind of from there on, didn't really have a lot of real big opportunities. Got fragged out borderline right at the attempted entry into the building, and from there on, it kind of just all went a bit sideways, one could say.
Well, speaking of sideways, Cthulhu. 3 deployable shields in Smoke, Alibi, and the Echo right now. Ash bringing the Echo, which is something that you and I have seen a few times on Cafe Dostoevsky, used to great effect. It seems that the setup is a slightly more aggressive one. They are want to contest some of those deeper angles down on the first floor. They want to take the fight to Judgment Day where they can. Ash on the hunt for a drone right now is going to be a little bit bamboozled. Has been played as Arrow, gets himself the hell out of dodge.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Yeah, Banzera could have had a big opportunity there at the just initial few openers, but at the moment just doing the final few bits and pieces of reinforcement. Once again, looking at the Women's Banfield's defense, it's still looking very kind of passive, not as much of the roaming power like Judgment Day has prepared, albeit still keeping it all rather close to the site. Not a whole lot of expansions to the top. Bry is already looking to make the big entry, looking to go in swinging. And as of now, well, things could certainly take a change once we do start seeing some of the swings coming about. Information partially gathered, at least, about the possible utility setup of Sam, and there goes the shield, but at the cost of 2 of the concussions and 1 of the impact grenades as well.
A lot of the utility already been cleared, which is rather impressive for Judgment Day. Bry as well. I mean, you can just feel the urge to just full send it in through service and contest things. Yokai drone now picking up that service position, looking for that info, looking to provide some support, just tucked in under one of the benches for now. I want to be able to deny, but it could be a bit of sleight of hand going on here, given that Loban is now rotating over towards those brown stairs.
Yeah, Loban to put pressure from behind as well could be rather big opportunity. Jolt. And a bit of a problem there with getting the breach here. I'm not too sure what really happened out there. The Echo drone is also coming about to try to possibly make a last-moment play for denial. Vamp. Oh, nearly catches the toes of Jolt, but at the moment it's all scuffed. It's all not looking good, and does find the shot onto Arrow. That is absolutely tilting. to what happened. And, well, finally, Bride does manage to find some sort of a return on investment, but still man down that early. And that is a Nomad. Has to introduce a few issues here and there.
Loben!
Oh.
My.
Jeez.
Man just snuck on in. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter. Riot there to try and capitalize, and, well, not going to find much. It's the follow-up nade from Jolt. Bry unleashed in through service right now. They have the player advantage. Bry's in, can't find a follow-up, will be dropped. And without Loben in play, it means they can't go for the nano boost. The Yokai. There's so much information. Unfortunately, both players from Benfield now tucked into the freezer, which could prove its own hurdles right now. Frag grenade from Jolt, tossed deep into the secondary bomb site. Not going to find anything as he relocates. They have so much room to work with, but this drone, the Yokai drone to deny the relocating. Can they do it? Yes, they can. It's one, but Benzera's down, and Ash is being swarmed right now. Judgment Day, shut it down. They say, you had your run. We gave you your one. It's our time.
Yeah, the moment they realize that, hey, the last one is Echo, he was on a drone, just flat out rush him. Don't give the opportunity to get any sort of cheeky play or any form of denial. And, well, they had just enough time to make that play, and they had the numbers, so in case one of them did die, there would have been already an instantaneous refrag. So overall, well done to Judgment Day. Match point it is for them, meaning 2-6. That's a bit of a dire situation for Women's Benfield. If they lose this one out, they do have to go to, well, the secondary map, which is their opponent's map pick, and could be a bit problematic, given that the mental game could be also just a teeny tiny bit in the bin, and I would say.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Well, Judgment Day, moisturized, unbothered, just happy vibing in their lane right now.
Yeah, just in their lane, yeah.
They,
It was quite good to see, though. I do real quick need to point out the fact that with Loben going down a couple times, Bry actually stepped up really, really well. Him and Riot just did a phenomenal play there in the last round, which did allow the rest of the team to keep on pushing, to keep on playing, and those swings were just absolutely just clinical.
I mean,
Can't
Bry,
emphasize enough.
you could see him, like, straight in through Bakery, just ripping rear, and they go, like, yeah, come on, just give me the cue. I want to send it. I want to send it. I want to send it. And as soon as it finally came, we got the kill, got down. So, I mean, we know he's good for those ones. So maybe that's what Judgment Day need to lean into if they drop another couple. Just let him go. He's got the LMGE. It's got 150 rounds in the mag. Let the boy frag. Let him run. Let him do some damage.
Absolutely. Well, maybe this is going to be kind of the round where they will unleash the beast. Yeah. Already a few peaks in here and there are coming about as Arrow is looking to make an entry first with the edge playing of that very actively around that Nomad utility, which could mean that a lot of action that could be unleashed in a very short amount of time, which is something that Women's Benfield kind of struggled a little bit to deal with, especially whilst being on the attack. So curious how will they be able to cope with all of this, but at the moment, quick and cheeky, easy contest off the Bakery, as well as that Jolton is back onto attempting to get the breach done. But we'll have to watch and see if anything will really come off it.
Now, last time, it looked like, you know, maybe Jolton had been getting Maverick tricks from Shaq. But right now, from the reattempt, it's not looking as rough. Frag grenade prepped, and oh my! That could have been Sam's death right there, but luckily pulls off. Plays a little bit deeper in the site, will survive for a little bit longer, catches the second one, more chip damage there, but Jolton will be dissuaded from carrying things on alongside those toxic canisters. So the stall does come, but for how long?
Well, the moment things are looking a little bit quieter, all things considered, given that right now Women's Benfield still has majority presence there on their setups, but TurboVamp makes sure that things keep up nice and snappy. Judgment Day missing out on Mancaster Jolt. That is the Maverick, that is the frag grenades, and a whole lot of gunpowder that is now has been completely turned out and negated. The moment that swing comes about, Packer gets the better of Arrow as well. Women's Benfield might just be able to keep themselves running for a brief moment longer here in this matchup of Cafe Dostoevsky.
Riot wants to go, but he's inhaled so much smoke. Right there in the backside, the coverage. And it looks like it might be a bit of a sweep. Loban walks on in for one. It has one boost left, having dropped down to the freezer. Ash is there, prone, spotted, can't hit the shots. And Ashen will shut it down. Right, finds a follow-up, but it's more of a consolation prize than anything. A 1 versus 3 with 12 seconds in play. They know exactly where Bry is. They're not going to waste their time. Sam steps out, shuts it down. And Benfield, they secure themselves a 3rd round here. Despite facing match point, they might just be able to pull this one back.
Yeah, clean deal from Women's Benfield. Being able to make the best of their situation, honestly, just doing a solid job overall. And yeah, look, the 3-round, or rather 3-point differential is certainly still looking quite workable here, albeit still not out of the problems just yet. So we could possibly look at some form of change of pace. If they can break the momentum of Judgment Day, Women's Benfield could certainly make a huge comeback. We've already seen from the previous days full overtime, and even with some of the teams initially gaining a huge advantage, huge momentum, but then get completely overturned on their advantage. Right now, there'll be yet another possibility for that, which is something that Women's Benfield could certainly make a very large play of.
Here in round 10, we go back up to the 3rd floor, of course. But I mean, the potential's there. 1 round is all that is needed for Judgment Day to close this one out. Benfield need to push for 3 if they want to take us to overtime. We've seen it happen in this qualifier already. Emergence were up 6-3 and then proceeded to get taken and dropped going into overtime in their matchup the other day. But hopefully Judgment Day will be able to avoid that. They just need the 1. Doesn't matter how it comes. A win is a win. They need to make it happen.
It is looking to be quite a big chance here. Benfield introducing the big possibilities for themselves to make those rotations, make the plays happen. Riot Benches is the one to try to make big rotation here. Loban once again on the contention towards the west window. Could certainly start applying the pressure, which is very much needed to be done right now, and already frag grenades are there. Certainly curious to see if he will be able to assist in getting rid of that position at the pixel, but as it stands, it is certainly a bit of a quiet time. Hoping to find some sort of solution, but it's the frag grenade from Riot that just absolutely plows the opponent, and no chance being given whatsoever.
I'll put in the hatch. Oh, I wonder what's down here. Frag grenade comes. Riot nailing that one there. And with Packer out of the equation, that was the player in Cigar Shop now removed, which means that if Judgment Day drone things out, they get that information, they can move up, take control, and they're starting to do that already. Look at the number of the different angles that Judgment Day are prepping themselves to be able to contest. Straight on through, looking to contest into Cigar Lounge itself. And it's already forcing Women's Benfield out of their positions.
Absolutely, yeah. The moment that force will be coming out, this is where Benfield might struggle really badly here. Few swings might be coming about, but with minute 13 to go, Judgment Day might need to start looking at the clock. Looking tick-tock. Man, I don't know. I was about to make a joke, but yeah, TOS. Anyways, Cigar Lounge is going to be, though, the main holding point for Women's Benfield in hopes of finding some sort of a response to that pressure. But you look at the health pool, it is all over buffed. Bry already gets the better of Sam. It is just such a dire situation, and not a whole lot of opportunities. Banzera trying to make a play of that, but already gets flashed. This is not good at all. Swing does come about. Loban is the one to actually get down, but it's all falling apart. This is all it. Judgment Day
mess.
Absolutely just wrecks the opposition.
So, Banzera and Turbo coming up white stairs. Turbo gets air jab, Banzera gets full white screen, Loban jumps over the balcony. That could not have been messier if they had tried to make it messier. But it is the round that Judgment Day need. They push on, they take Cafe Dostoevsky. Unfortunately, there's just nothing Benfield can do to bring it back. But, I mean, look, it was a closer, and that's exactly what Judgment Day were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. For Judgment Day, this is a perfect start for them. This is something that they were quite looking out for. They were definitely needing that kind of opener for themselves, especially in their first matchup, going into the last day of the close qualifiers. And overall, look, something that for women's Benfield, it was a bit of an oversight from them. They've attempted to make the big play. They've attempted to, reset themselves multiple times, but unfortunately, the fact that they did go 5-1 loss in the first half pretty much sealed the deal there in Cafe.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, they want to be able to bounce back going into map 2, and I think one of the best ways they could probably do that is to take their candy game up to the next level, of course, Mike and Ike's. Now, you can choose between original fruits or their new Mega Mix as well. Delicious, fruity, chewy flavors will help you fuel your game and power you up to keep you playing at your best. Power up with Mike and Ike, and that is something that Benfield will definitely need if they want to bring this back and take us to a decider. Now, I did say we're both from New Zealand. Fun fact, in New Zealand, you can buy those packs, but only in lots of 12. So, I have ordered some. They're in the mail currently. I might just have some going into the rest of the year, but I'm super keen. Hopefully it arrives soon. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to get there in time for Benfield, especially with a game like that. They do have that next map, of course, to redeem themselves. But what are the thoughts? What do you reckon the odds are that they could do it without Mike and Ike?
Yeah, without Mike and Ike, look, things might be a little bit dire there for women's Benfield. Chalet is one of those maps that theoretically you could adapt some of the approaches from Cafe Dostoevsky and say Benfield starts things off on the defense. They might just be able to gain that initial momentum for themselves because they were showing a few good life signs throughout the second half of Cafe on defense. They tried their best, but unfortunately, just Judgment Day were a little bit more proactive about their approach. And something that Benfield needs to really take into account is that continuous mobility, that continuous movement and roam that Judgment Day have seemed to have adapted. So say lead into the trap meta a little bit more and try to slow down things, if not with your gunfights, if not with your positionings, slow things down with the utility. If Twitch has been a big issue as well. Ban out Twitch at this point. Yes, it may end up being a bit of a shot in the foot, but as long as you preventing them from going through that utility clear that much easier, well, things might just end up looking much brighter for women's Benfield. Apart from that, for Judgment Day, they seem to have nailed the formula, at least within the context of this matchup. Their kind of strategy-backed aggression and mobility is something that quite a fair few teams could really learn from, and something that could really carry Judgment Day throughout this whole close qualifier.
Speaking of carrying on through, we are going to throw it to a break. When we come back, we jump into map 2, Chalet, of course, and we look to see how things play out, whether we go to the 3 maps or just the 2. We'll see you after that.
B3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's going to come down.
Favor making a third as he looks up. Make it up. He finds the draw. 3. Stunning here from...
There once was a tournament during the season of snow, filled with contenders of might, with names Deez, Ligma, and Joe. The road was a trying one, wrists aching with cramps. In the end, victors rose. We call them Winter Champs. Before they departed, they left us these words. Our journey's just begun. All thanks to the nerds.
B3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's gonna come down.
Weaver making a third as he looks up. Faking up, finds the draw. Three. Stunning here from
Hello, welcome back. Game 2 on the horizon. Cthulhu, we saw Cafe closed out quite cleanly by Judgment Day. 7-3 at the end. We now look to go on to our second map. Before we do, let's have a look at how things played out on Cafe Dostoevsky. Some interesting stuff, pretty standard bans, but you know what wasn't standard was the play by any means. Judgment Day, they faltered round 1. They absolutely stormed through and closing out the first half in a 5-1 fashion. Loban, in particular, stepping out, going above and beyond, and really bringing things back for the team. And it just felt like Benfield couldn't keep up.
Yeah, Benfield just played a little bit too passive, tried to essentially wait for some of the aggression from Judgment Day, but the thing was that Judgment Day were essentially waiting for the first contact and then playing for return fire. And so that worked out perfectly well for them. On the attack though, Judgment Day, look, they fumbled a little bit on a couple moments, but apart from that, it was a rather clean deal. A bit of a circus fiesta, one could even say, for the final round, but at the end of it all, Judgment Day did come out victorious out of that one. Now, Chalet being our map number 2, it is looking to be a bit of a change in pace, given the fact though it still does allow you to play in a very similar approach as Cafe Dostoevsky, but Chalet does present itself with a whole different bag of tricks, and certainly I think it will be much more beneficial for Judgment Day rather than Women's Benfield, given the fact that Benfield's so far been just mainly trying to play for a bit of just a turtle-like hunker down situation, whereas Judgment Day just channeling that fluidity through and through.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. They were very, very fluid in the way they approached the map. They were able to make those changes on the fly, whereas Benfield, if they were forced to deviate a change more often than not, it resulted in a huge misplay, and we can hear it. We're going in Chalet on the cards. So we've gone from, you know, the lovely Cafe Dostoevsky in Russia. We're now heading over to the French Alps. Bit of snow,
Still
bit
all
of sun,
snowy, yeah.
Bit of you know, lead, bit of explosions, bit of just chaos and mayhem. But it is what it is at the end of the day. First ban coming through from Weemus Benfield. What are we taking off the cards?
Thatcher, yeah.
I shouldn't have said anything. Of course, we knew. It's Thatcher.
Yeah, I'm assuming the bans are going to be relatively similar here, with possibly Flores being kind of the second ban from Judgment Day. Well, so it will be. Flores, in the current meta, funnily enough, is quite a deadly operator, especially in a very organized environment. Could certainly allow quite a fair few things. Borderline the next Thatcher, and so there's the reasoning why he's being banned out. Valkyrie, once again. Look, if we get a mirror ban, this is literally just the same bans as Cafe Dostoevsky, which would technically make sense, but look, I kind of wish that there was a little bit more difference in all that. But look, overall, still can't complain. Solid set of bans certainly would still lock things up into a bit more of a kind of flexible meta, where being a bit more proactive, being a bit more fluid would certainly help you a whole lot more, whether it's defense or offense. But apart from that, well, curious what will Benfield be able to pull out, given it is their first half being on the defense. So definitely a much more chances of being able to set things straight in their favor.
Well, we head to Bar Gaming first. Pretty stock standard in the terms of Chalet. The go-to for the majority of teams. In fact, really, when you see teams deviate anywhere else. Right now, you look at the setup. You look at the approach that Judgment Day are bringing on the attack. They've got the hard breach Hibana. Jolt, he can manage that easy. But you've still got the Finker in the hands of Loban. They're bringing still some form of flank watch in the Zero rather than the Nomad. And Zero, I just cannot say how much of a fan I am of his use in flank watch.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I was just about to actually point out Arrow's pick of Zero, given that in his current state, Sam Fisher, aka Zero, does have a lot, and I mean a lot of utility, because in the full utility setup, you have the Gun 6, two secondary hard breaches, 4 of the Argus cameras, and his gun that is, well, both of the guns that are absolutely just phenomenal. So you could go to town, and Arrow is in fact bringing a secondary hard breach device. So in case things do go sideways and Jolt dies in the early stages, they still have perfect way of going in for the breach, and that is something that Judgment Day could flex very, very well.
Honestly, the thing I'm most interested about isn't even about the Rainbow Six aspects of Sam Fisher. You know, Ubisoft announcing that they're going to be revamping Splinter Cell. Does that mean we get a new young Sam Fisher coming through as a potential elite, you reckon?
I'd be keen. I'd be keen to see that. Honestly, possibilities are certainly there. And I've been thirsting for a new Splinter Cell game for quite a while. So when the news came through, it was certainly an exciting prospect. Banzera already taking some early damage, being pressured from 2 separate windows. Certainly not feeling too well and seemed to be absolutely confused as to where the shots were coming from. But both of the frag grenades, that is rather unfortunate, do get drained out. And another one. Can we get another one? Yes! Both of the sets of the frag grenades gone and out. But it's a swing. It's a crossfire. Sam does bail out straight away. So Lobin tries to follow up.
I'm so confused as to how this has worked for Judgment Day. All 4 frag grenades get 8, and they find the kill on the player mezzanine. That's cool. They jump in. Riot dies, but the follow-up of Lobin is enough to clear out the player. Top library stairs. They then follow up with another 2 kills, taking it down to a 4 versus 2. How has Judgment Day been the team to come out on top? Because that library position, the top library stairs position, is such a strong one. The fact that Benfield gave it up so freely, it blows my mind.
Yeah, it's a bit of a confusing one, but Sam, I would imagine, decided to bail out of that position, given feeling that he's been thinking that he'll get overpowered there. But his position does get revealed. Crossfires there, just so many unfortunate turnouts, not enough ammo as well for Packer, and all that means Arrow is the one to finish up the round. It's the first win into the hands of Judgment Day, and they are continuing their stomping.
Very, very solid start to Chalet, of course, taking things decisively, pushing their advantages where they could. And Bry, I talked about letting him just go off, frag out, do his thing, and he did exactly that in attacking bar in gaming. It looks like Judgment Day going to look to run the exact same setup, anticipating a return to bar gaming from Weemus Benfield. And the biggest thing from Benfield in that last round is they gave up key positions early on, so they want to avoid that if they can.
Yeah, that probably will be the biggest thing to really talk about. The fact that just Benfield seemed to be preemptively almost abandoning some of the positions, not really trying to contest some of the more riskier gunfights. They want to play very safely, and understandably so. It's qualifiers. You don't want to reveal a whole lot of your big plays, but given the fact that you already missed out on one of the maps, you're possibly looking at missing out this map as well, albeit it's still in the early stages of it. For Winners Benfield, it's certainly a bit of a question mark moment, at least for myself, about them and about their approach, given that they're not a bad set of players at all by any means, and at the moment is just, yeah, set of unfortunate events plus just some miscalculations of what seems to be plaguing so far the defensive team.
I mean, it's also a bit of a case of slightly younger and unproven in the landscape of NA Rainbow Six Siege, but right now they have that prime opportunity to do it. If they can move on through the bracket, they can steal that spot for themselves and make it into SCS, that, you know, stage 2. That would be absolutely huge. Unfortunately, in their way is Judgment Day, who after that last map are looking strong.
They're already quick work of those Argus cameras. You can see the practice coming in as a Zero player on Chalet. Certainly being able to get rid of some of the utilities really nice, really quick. Ash playing around the piano could certainly play for a bit of a crossfire once the pressure onto Sam does come about, but he needs to be very wary about the presence on that outside balcony that could completely shut him down, but it's Riot that gets the better of Banzera. That is rather unfortunate, and I believe that was was it the mezzanine presence? No, that wasn't. No, that was the library presence. That's even worse. Rather unfortunate there, and well, one player less. Few of the vertical positions are present. Arrow still playing outside, but he gathers so much information. It is absolutely nuts.
Another one.
Oh my God, 2 for 2
here in the second round of Chalet. And that first kill onto Bands is where it came apart last round. Bry bags himself, who's first of round 2, but Loban is into this site, charging through. One more kill, and it's going to be a flawless Ash, the last player remaining. Arrow goes down. The flawless has been denied, but it's 1 versus 4 with Jolton on the plant. Ash playing around the corner, goes prone, facing up against the vastly superior mag size. Pulls off his 2 players. They're all charging towards him. It's Loban, in fact, to take it. And if round 1 was decisive, round 2 was an absolute bloodbath. Judgment Day can smell victory on the horizon.
Yeah, I think at this point, Judgment Day figured it out that Benfield either having some communications issues or maybe they just a little bit still adjusting to some of the competition. Was some jitters are certainly going on, and they decided, you know what? We know that we can frag out. We know that we can go in for the swings. Just send it. And that's exactly what they've done so far. Just absolutely sent it while still having some good coverage, some good positional advantage. And the moment that collapse happened, Women's Benfield were completely just stumped there. No chances to recover, no ways of just getting any form of advancement for themselves going. And it kind of just, everything went sideways. And right now, Benfield's still struggling to find out what kind of play needs to be done, what kind of turnout needs to be happening, because otherwise it is just all very quickly, very firmly falling apart. And you can see Chalet is a much more trained map for Judgment Day, given just how fluent so far their attacks were, how prepped it all was. They already know exactly where to aim, where to go for, what kind of utility to bring in. Whereas on the side of Women's Benfield, yes, their lineup is still very solid, the utility is still there, but it feels like they still kind of just fumbling around, just trying to find their kind of the big solution formula, which is yet to be found, and some more rather open-minded angles being played. But yet again, experimentation is always good. It's just that at the moment against the team like Judgment Day, seems like experimentation is kind of the last thing that you would want to do.
Yeah, I mean, especially, you know, Bryce hitting his shots. He's 4-0 currently. The rest of the team not too far behind him. In fact, Jolton, the only player on the side of Judgment Day without a kill. Not for lack of trying, mind you, just lack of availability, given that the rest of the team have taken all of them. Here in the third round, up onto the second floor, but no time still being wasted. X-Cairo shot out, so they haven't quite got the security they need to in opening some of those long angles, but it's only a matter of time before they do find it.
Absolutely. Packer on a Soul Crusade playing around the Solarium. Will be making a rotation. Does only mildly get blinded, but at the moment still manages to get out of there scot-free. Loban also trying to make an attempt to play, but there's a trade, but already with Bry out of the equation. That's a big Zafir pusher out of the game, out of the play. So the moment Judgment Day is stalling out a little bit, but I say that, still minute 46 to go, so plenty of time to make a play. Packer hiding behind the chassis. Can the frag grenade actually land? No, it won't, so the moment the alibi can breathe easy.
Packer's in a pretty tenuous spot. That is one that could be heavily punished, but Riot deals with the Banshee below him, jumps in through the window and takes that Solarian position. Packer could play devil's advocate and shut this one down if they're not quite aware of his positioning, but the Gemini goes on into the bedroom. Ping's coming through, but I don't think that's onto Packer. I don't think they have any clue. They know Sam's there. Packer still unspotted. Player onto the double. The head taken clean off by Packer with the... I mean, MX4 Storm is such a ripper of a gun at close range. It is incredibly lethal. Going into the final minute, Judgment Day have made a vital mistake in not clearing him out. And there we go. Finally, Jolton takes him. But it could be too little too late. Damage heavy onto Riot. They're going to get that stim coming out through as well. The frag grenade. I was going to say nitro cell. Both explosive. And it's a shelf that is not going to keep, unfortunately, Sam alive. Loban in through the piano and finishes him off. They're looking for the spray. Look, damage. Things will slow down once again, but Jolton on the plant, leaving Loban alone to try and cover and deny any sort of push through. He's going to get this down onto Ash. Can he find the follow-up onto Turbo? Doesn't even need to commit to it. The plant's secured. They play for the post. And now the onus being on Benfield to clutch it up.
Ball should be coming through as well in a moment. The pickup has been done, but already with the plan down, it's a double push actually. Ash and Turbovamp could do quite some work if they do go for a double swing, or could get mowed down. Jolt gets one, Loban gets two. No chance, no way in hell that Wemyss Benfield do get any kind of progression there. Third round in a row, Judgment Day on the attack are just absolutely clinical, and it almost feels like it's something that they expected and they accounted for. Pause does come about, which does mean that, well, finally Benfield are starting to, well, start getting the talks going. What's happening? What needs to be done? What needs to be changed? Because as of now, it's just all a mess.
Benfield hit him with the hold up. Wait a minute, something ain't right, and it isn't. I mean, 3-0 at the start of Chalet. It is a continuation of the trend that we saw on Cafe Dostoevsky, which is that Judgment Day are outpacing and outmatching Benfield, and it's become all the more accelerated here on Chalet because of just how deep the understanding is from Judgment Day on this map. Benfield, whether it's a case of they don't play this one as much or it's just not one of their priorities, they just don't seem to have an answer. Yeah, Benfield just feeling a little bit almost lost about how to go about their way, how to go about some of the plays, some of the issues, and certainly not something that they would have wanted the beginning of Chalet to happen, given that the defense was promising them all sorts of advancements, all sorts of plays, but it is what it is, unfortunately for them, meaning that, well, Judgment Day will so far continue their streak. Fourth round is upon us. Curious what kind of changes will Benfield bring in on board. So far, no changes in the roster, so I'm assuming it's more so about their approach and more so about trying to reset the mental as I would imagine the tilt slowly starting to settle in, which is something that is a big talking point, especially in Tier 3, Tier 2 games, given that's where kind of the players are still going through all the development, they still improving, they still kind of finding and seeking the better version of themselves. So here I wouldn't exclude the fact that it's just flat out just the tilt slowly coming in, and the team just needs to reset themselves. And Zera might be looking for something similar to what he found in that last round. Oh my! Right, he's gonna have to go watch the replay to figure out what the hell just happened to him, because he is stuck on cams for the next 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Hey, wait. Now that's a solid way to get him bounced back, especially for the Benfield players. Banzera doing a phenomenal opener. And yeah, that's a tilter.
Like, bloody hell.
That's a tilter. Absolutely. And look, I can't blame him. That's something that is quite frustrating to die to, but that was a clean play from Banzera. Something that will set up Wemyss Benfield for a solid start. Now they need to make sure that they don't lose that momentum, they don't lose that advantage, and something that they will need to be very cautious about. Swing from Sam will be meaning that he could be contesting some early plays. Interesting decision. But, okay. Curious what was Jolt thinking, given that the sparks were still there, but alas, unfortunately, it was not. The play was not the case. Turbovamp takes some damage, so at the moment it's a bit of a back and forth, but still a player advantage. I was saying that Loban does get the better of Banzera.
Nice little banked frag grenade there from Riot. Does clear out the Electro Claw from the bathroom, so they can now actually try and open it for True. You look at this angle, Packer flying over towards top library. Loban seems to have an idea that there is someone there, but we'll pull off the angle. No, back to it once again. Ping's coming through, and we will see that passive approach once again. We're not going to go for that full set. Oh, Riot almost got full white screen there while holding a frag grenade. That could have been hugely detrimental. Frag grenade is thrown, but it's too little too late as the ADS heats up.
Absolutely, oh. Packer just an inch away from finding a frag for himself onto what I'm assuming is Loban. It would be absolutely big. Yeah, Loban in a bit of a dangerous position, well, albeit he is hiding majority of his body behind the two wooden pillars, so could be still in relative safety. Packer swings about, does spot the gun. Can he tap away at the possible pixel of the hands? No, he decides for the better of it. Just gonna wait for the actual push to happen. Has Loban dead to rights and could actually cut off that rotation really big, really quickly. Judgment Day already going in for the plan. Oh no! Completely misses out and Ash gets fragged.
The angle's just being covered. They get the down onto Turbo once again. Packer has to try and pull it back, and not a chance, not a clue. Judgment Day are speed running map 2 here.
Jeez Louise, the moment I thought that, well, this is the round for Women's Benfield to just completely overturn things around. No, absolutely not. Judgment Day are still here to stay. Maybe it was just yet another kiss from for the homies from Jolt that just boosted the morale whilst they were on the break. But regardless, it's just all working out far too well for Judgment Day. And we're seeing a slight change of pace. Introduction of Lion. Well, 6-pick, psych. We thought it would be a cheeky, rush strat, but instead back to Iana, back to yet another set of frag grenades. So, yeah, Judgment Day back at it again, back to just essentially their round-winning recipe with the operators, whereas on the side of Women's Benfield, an attempt to maybe bring in a little bit more roaming game with the introduction of Vigil on top of Sam's Alibi, as well as that Turbo Vamp's Jaeger. So maybe if now Benfield decide to, switch things around, maybe expand a little bit more towards the ground floor, maybe play around closer to the main garage, could be one of the ways to go about it and play it. But again, this will mean that the reinforcements will be spread thin, meaning that it will be more so leaning into the solo capabilities of each one of the players, which, look, Benfield could still attempt to play, given that so far the coordination between the multiple players within that team so far seem to have been a little bit lackluster, or rather a little bit more of a premature set of calls.
Sam looking to get a little bit aggressive towards Solarium, but it's Packer. First one to cop some significant damage in the round. Pulls out a cart. Has to play passively. I mean, that's such a significant amount of health to lose this early on, especially on a bomb site like this.
Oh, yeah. Early damage, whilst it's, well, not the full frag, it still will be forcing Packer to reconsider some of the more ambitious swings, and will be possible locking him down. A shot through the drone hole could be possibly there onto Sam, but no, quick, clean rotation with no damage just yet, and he's able to make his way over to the dining room. Curious that he decided not to really hold around the dining room / kitchen area to try to hold off the push for a brief moment longer, but maybe rendezvousing with Packer could bring a whole lot more of the profit. But as of now, can see that there's quite literally nobody there, but no, the frag is already coming about. Ash is already down, and well, this is no good.
Aero does finalize. It is the nano boost coming through, so it's as if Aero wasn't even involved in a gunfight right now. And Packer in the dining hallway might look to shut him down if possible as the cam goes out. I mean, the inclination would have been that, yeah, he's just jumped on cams, but it's not the case at all. He's setting up for teammates right now. I mean, you just look at the way that this is being played. Aero does finally jump on it, but he does it from a safe position. Knows that now that Sam is rotating around through Fireplace. Just the way, the level-headedness that Judgment Day is showing in this matchup is insane. Aero finds Packer. Banzera completely flushed out of his position. Judgment Day just have the understanding at every single step of the way.
Absolutely. Already, two-man disadvantage. The Romas are returning back to the site, trying to make some plays. They have the guns, they have the capabilities. Now they just need to make sure that they don't get crossfired like this, like Banzera. Bry gets the better of him. Sold out to Sam. Turbo Vamp trying to hold his angle. Sam gets absolutely lit up. Still somehow miraculously gets out of that situation. But 1 HP in a dream is not going to be that play. It's a flawless with Loban just absolutely smashing the opposition.
Just running rampant throughout round 5. And with that being a flawless Cthulhu, in the 5 rounds played, there are 7 kills collectively gained by Women's Benfield. Judgment Day took a 5-1 on Cafe. They're about to take a 6-0 here on Chalet. As we head to kitchen dining, the Mozzie, the Oryx newly in play now for Weaver Benfield. They could be 2 rounds away from bowing out of this qualifier.
Dire situation, nonetheless. Women's Benfield. So much promise has been introduced initially to the actual matchup, but unfortunately for them, it's just series of unfortunate events not really working out. Judgment Day, yeah, like you said, 2 rounds away from claiming the victory. A much more, what possibly could be a much more decisive victory than even what was on Cafe, which did result in a 7-3 scoreline. Going on to this one. Yeah, look, maybe the mental and the morale has been completely stomped over and completely shut down, and Benfield at this point looking to just wrap things up for themselves and for the team and just go home, get back onto the trading board.
I think for the first time in American history,
10 seconds to
North America has found the WMBs. Right now, Judgment Day. I mean, it's just the depth, the level of understanding that they have. Even when we Miss Benfield try to, play something a little bit different, be a little bit quirky in their approach. Banzera with the aggression, with the spawn peaks, they've even then found a way to shut it down. It's just, it's impressive. It is genuinely impressive, the level-headedness that Judgment Day is showing. Despite Loban being found there from the main lobby, he's not going to lose his life. He's going to be able to stem up. He's still 8-1 as well.
Yeah. Something that was actually pointed out even, to us prior to the broadcast, Judgment Day are one of the few teams that have a very good strategical approach to some of the plays. They know exactly what they need to do, they know exactly where they need to be, and it even shows here Riot gets the better of Packer, and that is already Mozzie out of the equation. That's the C4, that's Banzera gone as well, that's the big rotation. We are possibly looking at a solid, quick match point, and yeah, Banzera, yeah, my bad.
Yo, I'm sorry, my guy. Look, at least, I mean, you can still laugh at it and say, yeah, look, okay, I was a little bit stupid in that situation, I shouldn't have done it. So you can say Miss Benfield are about to get swamped, but at least they're enjoying themselves. Bry with a follow-up, it's Sam and Ash alone. No, it's Ash alone. Back-to-back flawless rounds. A very real possibility here for Judgment Day. Ash, he's got this. The belief is there. Is the backup. Good night, Jolton. Good night, Ash. A 6-0 half here on Chalet.
Jeez.
Look, I have to say, Jolton gives the boys the kisses. I want a hype man like Ben. My God, he was like, Ash has this. I don't care what you say, Ash has this. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, but he was so certain that, like, yeah, Ash is going to pick this up. Never crossed my mind that he could fail that.
Yeah, never seen him miss any of those at all. But yeah, look, I gotta admire the hype man skill that Banzera brought in there. But look, unfortunately, that did not bring in the dub to We Miss Benfield, despite all of the hopes and beliefs of the teammates. But going into the kitchen dining now, it's the time for Judgment Day. We've seen how deadly they are on the defense. If they were so deadly on the offense, look, we could possibly be seeing quite some interesting plays. Yeah, Banzera is a little bit, bit of on a tilter, maybe. Maybe just slowly, already imagining the demise that is coming up upon him. But look, I do have to point out though, Women's Benfield, the one thing that they definitely nailed quite well is the sheer amounts of Twitch usage. When Flores is out, when Thatcher is gone, Cali feels like a colossal waste of time. Twitch works out perfectly well here for Benfield. It's just unfortunately for them on far too many occasions, especially on Cafe Dostoevsky, just things didn't go the right way, or the timing was not there, and kind of from there on it snowballed into just far too many to handle issues. So whilst I sympathize with all the problems and all the unfortunate turnouts for Women's Benfield, as well as that there needs to be an acknowledgement that just unfortunately far too many mistakes were committed, and at that point really Judgment Day were just happy to oblige to punish for those mistakes.
Packer taking a leaf out of Loban's book, in aggressive, having pushed through gaming on the thinker already. Wants to take some of these early fights in favour and put Miss Benfield in a position to potentially contest this one round to be huge. And look at them. Brian, they're ready to
Oh,
go. It's gonna
boy.
be straight. Oh my god, Jolton for 2. Ash answers back. One of those was a wall bang, mind you. Jolton has completely dismantled this push with a single magazine from the SMG 11. Packer above,
there's a
looking to
vertical
contest
even.
where he can, but there's only limited options available to them. Not many players going to give themselves up to that vert angle. And, well, Benfield, you got to respect the attempt, even if it has worked against them a little.
Absolutely. Look, right now it's all down to the 3 players, or rather, Wolf. Yeah, 3 players of women's Benfield Packers, Sam and Ashiana, trying to make a play there, trying to find any form of openers. But again, you're looking at all the positions. It's all 1v1s, very isolated ones as well, mind you as well. Riot does get traded out 2v3, but minute and 30 to go, 1v3. No, none v3. It's all GG's. It's all well played. 2-0 victory for Judgment Day in a decisive 7-0 victory. And just, yeah, absolutely stunning performance. Judgment Day will be moving up in the bracket.
Ben's there paying respect to his opponent at the end. Loban, you are the future. And look, with play like that, with consistent
Absolutely.
levels of success like that, I have no doubt. I think Ben is correct in that assumption. Loban will be making PL one day, guaranteed, in the North America League. But I mean, what a way to do it. Judgment Day do not drop a single round in closing things out. And I mean, just having a look back at the map itself, they knew exactly what they needed to do. They understood the map. They understood priorities. They did not drop a single round, even when Miss Benfield threw the unexpected at them. They were able to adapt. They were able to bring it back. They were able to, I mean, you look at that. Benzer absolutely fried Bry, and they still were able to bring it back and smoke it. And yeah, I have to respect the man who hypes up his teammate like that. But we saw it all came apart. There was only so much you could do in the face of overwhelming adversity like Judgment Day. And unfortunately for Miss Benfield, that is their qualifier run done.
Yeah, look, rather unfortunate turnout, especially the way how Chalet did go down. Fortunately for women's Benfield, it's back to the drawing board. But look, still plenty of opportunities are there for Judgment Day to keep their run rolling out. Only, I believe, a singular BO3 for them to win one more time. And they pretty much finishing this whole qualifiers run with a dub. But honestly, I am quite curious to see what will go next, whether possibly the element of fatigue could be starting to settle in for Judgment Day eventually, because so far, look, the way how they came in prepared for this one is absolutely stunning. Just usually, because when these kind of situations initially happen, when one of the teams wins their opponent's map picks, usually, at least with an NZ, that means that we could possibly see a trade of the 2 maps. So the second map will be won by the opposing team, and then we go into map 3. This one, you could see the sheer decisiveness, the sheer preparation that Chalet was for Judgment Day. It was a much cleaner play than Cafe Dostoevsky, and it's just phenomenal. Maybe also for some of the teams to actually look out for and to pretty much acknowledge going into the map vetoes. Don't even allow Chalet to be picked, because it is going to be pretty much just deadly grounds.
I mean, look, it was just insane stuff. They keep it quick. They keep themselves ahead of the game. And speaking of ahead of the game, if you want to be ahead of the game, you should experience a Mavix Gaming Chair, the exclusive chair partner of NerdStreet Gamers and local host. All Mavix Gaming Chairs feature the Future 9 functions of critical ergonomics to support gamers everywhere. Get yourselves one today for as little as $24.69 a month using code NSG55 to save Cthulhu. Get this, $55 off your order as well. So make sure you shop at Mavix.com/NerdStreet Gamers. And look, from what I hear, you have the option with a Mavix Gaming Chair to include air conditioning or a heater. And you and I have been talking about how hot we are. An air-conditioned gaming chair right now would do absolute bits. So I'm getting myself one of those for my birthday or Christmas this year. But, I mean, it seems, look, we miss Benfield, unfortunately, for the rest of the qualifiers, but there are still a number of teams that could really look to upset and make a name for themselves.
Absolutely, yeah. There are still plenty of games that are actually going on. We might actually be taking just a bit of a short break and then returning back to a map 3 of one of the matchups that we might be having a look at and see if we can catch some of the end action before we move on to the round 2 of best of 3s. But look, honestly, if that's the way how we kick things off for our final day of the close qualifiers, I'm excited for the rest of them, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely sets us up for a very, very interesting closing out of the qualifiers. But right now, we are going to start to a break. Like you said, when we come back, well, we might be jumping into another matchup. We might be jumping into our next one here on the broadcast. Either way, we'll let you know. We'll see you soon.
B3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's gonna come down.
Favor making a third as he looks up. Fake it up. He finds the draw. Three. Stunning here from...
Welcome to the NerdStreet Winter Championships, featuring SCS6, a yearly open tournament series hosting the best players and teams North America has to offer, culminating in a community favorite, the Pro-Am. So let's discuss format. During the Winter Champs season, SCS6 will consist of 2 stages, where each stage begins with 2 open qualifiers. Once Stage 1 is complete, there will be an additional tournament offering 1 more qualification spot prior to Stage 2. Through participating in SCS6, players will acquire leaderboard points and cash prizing. The winning teams from Stage 1 and 2, as well as the additional tournament, will qualify for the Pro-Am. The top 2 teams from the leaderboard will also qualify. As we approach the end of the season, the final qualification spot will be determined through a last chance qualifier. The Grand Finals of the Winter Champs SCS6 will feature the return of the Pro-Am, where the top amateur teams have an opportunity to define their talent against the North American Pro League. But in the end, only one team will be crowned Winter Champs. Sign up today and make history.
Oh, I love the smell of a cup of joe in the morning. With roach... Oh, hello!
A letter has arrived, sir.
A letter. For me. You have been cordially invited to compete in the 2022 Winter Championships.
Wow.
Featuring multiple game titles, competitive leaderboards, over 25,000 in prize money, and glory. By golly, time to get some headshots. What a perfect time to tell a story. Gather round, everyone, and hear the tale of the NerdStreet Winter Championships. There once was a tournament during the season of snow, filled with contenders of might with names Deez, Ligma, and Joe. Players rose from their beds from the east to the west to compete and prove which players were best. Through weeklies and monthlies, the hype did climb, as soon came the grand finals. Locations in due time. Aspiration and community was preached to the masses. Amateurs became legends, Mavics supporting their...
I was gonna say glasses.
The road was a trying one, wrists aching with cramps. In the end, victors rose, We call them Winter Champs. Before they departed, they left us these words. Our journey's just begun. All thanks to the nerds. Oh, how I love that story. I think we will compete. What do you say, Chiefs?
I can compete, sir.
I suppose better bring the KD up. And you should too. After all, if you're a competitor, this is the circuit for you.
addiction. You're a guilty affliction. Yeah. I can't breathe. I need to get some air, but it's a toxic addiction.
B3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's gonna come down.
Favor
to
making a
double.
third as he looks up. Faking off, finds the draw. Three. Stunning here from
Hello, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Cthulhu, we're back. We're ready to go, but not with our next best of three, with the closer of a different best of three in that first round. Juices versus Landscape and Crow. Obviously, Juices, the standalone SCS winner. They've got that spot going into the Pro-Am, but they've turned around and said, you know what, we want to keep going. We want to play at a stage of SCS and prove that we not only deserve the spot of the Pro-Am, but that we are one of the better teams in this competition. Then you got Landscape and Co. Newer up-and-comers looking to get themselves in, and it's gone to full 3 maps.
Yeah, first time in so far, 3-mapper is upon us, and look, I'm quite curious to see what will happen really, because with the 2 maps kind of being traded out between the 2 teams, and with Juices, like you just alluded to before, being kind of the big already, well, borderline nearly veterans of the tournament, certainly quite keen to see what can be brought out. Already the Villa has concluded, so does the Clubhouse. A bit more of a standardized set of maps that were picked comparative to what we just seen between Wemyss, Benfield and Judgment Day, but no matter what, Oregon is going to be the map that we are going to be watching right about now. And honestly, Oregon is one of those maps that, yep, look, it's been for quite a while in the overall competitive scene. It's been there for the whole of the well, pretty much almost since the beginning of Rainbow Six competitive scene. And honestly, after the rework, that map became quite an interesting one, where there's still a few spots that kind of left unchecked, that still you can introduce a little bit more experimental kind of approach to it. But for the majority of it, it's been shrouded out to the absolute maximus, and now it's down to just how you win your gunfights and how you win your ones. So here, going into this, I mean, you look at the scoreline, 7-4s all across the board between the 2 maps, and it certainly shows that both the teams have been kind of going neck and neck against each other.
Now, do we have an updated bracket production that we can chuck up? Just because the implications of this match alone are rather interesting, given who they would end up facing off. So yeah, right here, Juices versus Landscape and Co. go on to verse. The winner, of course, of this map goes on to verse Noob Slayers, which is Pengu's team. They won 7-3, 7-2 in their matchup, and they're looking quite hot and ready to go. So that is going to be a hell of a matchup to see who takes out the spot from that arm of the bracket. Obviously, we've had Judgment Day move on. Nocturnes have moved on, and Oak Army as well. So the bracket, it's slowly starting to come together. We have one side of that coin in each of those deciding matches from each arm of the bracket. Cthulhu, I mean, the winner of this having to face up against, yeah, it's Pengu in a pub stack, but it's still Pengu, one of the all-time greatest players of the game.
Yeah, the reputation is certainly there, and could possibly mean kind of a bit of a mental warfare weapon as well to be used. But obviously, I would imagine that at this point, it's just the teams essentially trying to focus on themselves rather than their, well, rather who the heck are their opponents, minus the strats maybe. So honestly, going into all of this, I'm just keen to see what could be brought out here between the 2 rosters. Obviously, it's been back and forth of a game, so Oregon is the place of, well, you can call it sudden death. Pretty much each and every round will matter, each and every kill will matter, and all your progress that has been achieved throughout the whole of best of 3, borderline nullified, given that you no longer have those map advantages and all of that. It's just down to this final map that will decide whether you in or you're out.
Yeah, we head to the final place of reckoning. Oregon, I mean, look, you could not pick a better place to form a deciding map, of course. It's back to basics. It's back to the known quantity. We've seen a number of teams already have some very, very big matchups on Oregon already. So Juices coming back into it. And there's a couple of names that I know on that team that I'm very, very keen to see playing once again. Landscape & Co., a newer roster, one that I'm not as familiar with. But in saying it's never ever a reason to count a team out of a competition, especially given that you need to remember we are in the decider map here. It's not like, oh, you know, this is the second map, Juices 1-7-0. No, we are at the decider. Both teams have picked up a win here.
Absolutely, yeah, and this is the beauty of these kind of like close qualifiers. You have some of the teams that already have a few noteworthy names in with some of the players, and you have also some of the teams that are just freshly being introduced to this whole environment, this whole competition, and they're ready to show that fresh skill that quite a whole lot of teams may not be prepared for, and playing in for that dark horse kind of element would be an absolutely huge advantage for some of the rosters. So I'm very much keen to see what could be brought out here, what can be done. Yeah, like you alluded to, third map, and it certainly shows that it was a back and forth kind of banger of a matchup so far. And honestly, yeah, look, I still would say that probably whichever team that gets the defense that is going to be the landscape, though, will have a slight advantage, given the fact that it's essentially up to them to not allow the attackers to actually make their way into the side. But look, I already can hear the beautiful sound of a starting lobby, so we shall get right on with
the
it.
Siren horn that signals the beginning of any good siege match. Into operator ban phase so far, we've seen nothing but, you know, Thatcher, Flores, Valkyrie, and Mira. Are we going to get anything different today, you reckon, in this matchup?
We might see something different on the defense. I'm quite certain that it is still going to be Thatcher and Flores as well. Flores is already here, so Thatcher is probably going to be the second one that will be banned out, given that at least I hear the clock out and the timer tick rather rapidly, so it was quite a decisive pick. So let's see in a second. Yeah, there it is.
No surprises.
No surprises there. I mean, all things considered, though, that duo is still very powerful on a map like Oregon. So no, not surprised that those are the ones being banned out. Valkyrie's the third one. Please don't tell me. Please don't tell me we're gonna go 4 for 4, because that will be quite something, honestly.
It's taking a little bit longer in this one. There we go. Decisions made. It'll be popping up. And oh, look! Who would have thought? North America banning Flores, Thatcher, Valkyrie, and Mira. You guys are not very original. I'm sorry. As a region, you wonder why LATAM wins everything. It's because they can play around these operators. It's not the end of the world. But no, look, it is what it is. If you don't want to play against something, of course, the easiest way to deal with that is ban it. When we jump on in Cthulhu, we look to get things underway. Juices on the attack. They're going to be heading to and trying to contest the basement bomb site to kick things off. But Landscape and Co. are going to be their final hurdle.
Yeah, looking at the landscape setup, actually, I am quite curious how will this be played out. I was about to say around that echo, but obviously that's a switch towards Cade. For Laundry and Supply Room, a much more logical decision, given the fact that Cade should make things a whole lot easier in regards to some vertical contention. Whereas on the side of Juice as well, they are bringing in quite an interesting lineup, including a Lion instead of a Nomad, so they are looking to make some big momentum pushes off the back of EE1D, or rather just use it for the passive info gathering toolkits. So we'll see how that will go, because the rest of the team lineup for the attack does seem to be looking at get the initial breach and then pretty much straight up funnel right onto all of the positions and flood the site. Whereas on the side of Landscape Cove, they have plenty of utility to slow things down. They have the smoke grenades, they have the Syria gates, they have the Goyo shields, so all of that utility could be very easily used up to pretty much just shut down, or if not, just at least slow down that portion. So it looks like a few rotational positions have been made, but this does look like it is going to be a rather hunkered down position rather than the a full-on mobile setup with maybe some presence up and the on the ground floor.
Well, right now, setup is all done, or as much as it could be. Matt Bonga on the Zofia. Cover him last stage. He's going to be looking to make the entry, getting those key positions early and take some decisive ground. But it's that Chimera duo of the Finker line that I'm most excited to see used by Juices here.
Yeah, we've seen quite a fair few of the Finker line combos in Oceanic Challenger League as well, which has seen quite a solid amount of success, given the fact that Finker just has that element of you can correct all of the issues or all the small mishaps in the health department for your team, and that obviously opens up a whole lot of big opportunities to just keep on just chugging through all of those issues. So Curious how will Juices be able to utilize that on the side of Landscape Co. Obviously, still yet to see any, or rather, well, on the defense side, we still yet to see any kind of healing operators, whether it's Doc, whether it's Thunderbird, and curious what could be the end result of it all, because so far just free real estate and breaching department.
All the angles being watched here. Ellie looking to contest it. Or almost spotted it. Nitro Cell toss. It's going to be a bit of damage on the Gingy, but nothing massively significant. So the hatch will continue to be opened up, but it's Roby on the first kill. Pixel going down for a second, roaming up into the meeting room, and that is some huge damage being dealt.
That is big. That is so huge. Pretty much losing all the control of the meeting hall, meaning only just the freezer push is up there. So it does call for a quick rotation. Rovi still on the ground floor, where that late flank could shut things down even further. Matt Bonger is down. It's all down to Badger and Dunny. And right now, just all of those rotations not coming about. No, doesn't even win that one with a pre-fire. 5-1. It's all looking bleak.
Badger with 2, 1 versus 3, but with not a huge amount of health remaining to him. The toxic canister in play, but it's Rovi with a 4-piece in the round through the drone hole. Indeed, a Pixel. All that's needed. A 4K to kick off Oregon.
That's one way to kick things off, I suppose, for Landscape Co. Certainly feeling all fired up and ready to rumble. Going into map number 3. Another thing too, I've mentioned this before when we were talking about Judgment Stage.
I just figured it out. I know why these names are so familiar.
Oh yeah, go on.
Ellie, and Hydrate, Mexican Pro League players.
Ah,
they're from MET.
Ah yeah. Well, there you go.
I knew it. I knew I recognized the name. Yeah, they finished third in Cova, Mexico.
Defenders protect
yeah.
bombs from being defused.
Well, no,
Just
sorry,
casual, you know.
Yeah, in Cova, Mexico, stage 3. So I knew the names were familiar. I couldn't remember where they're from though.
Well, now we know. Now we know where the experience, where the prowess, and maybe some mental fortitude as well could be coming from. So certainly a huge boon to Landscape Co. Certainly keen to see what else could be.
Okay, no, certainly, it's a combination of Mexican Pro League players. You got Rovi and Clippe, who are from Shivas Esports.
Ah,
I've cracked the code, Cthulhu.
you've cracked the
10 out of
code.
10.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
5 seconds left.
Inspector Blue Panda is on the case, finding everyone and everywhere better than KGB does, it seems. But yeah, look, memes aside though, it's certainly a huge then favor for Landscape Co, given that they would have 100% the whole mental fortitude to keep on rolling, to keep on playing, and they warmed up. Look, they've managed to keep up it all very competitive. Yes, Clubhouse didn't go their way, but we've seen a whole lot of teams, even in Pro-Am kind of circuits, where they would still, not play at least full send, or rather take a bit of a breather on one of the maps, and then come back map 3 and just absolutely just pull out the opposition. So for Juices, look, they are taking their time, albeit it's only been just less of a minute as the round transpired. But already with Clippy out of the equation, things are looking just a little bit more, paced down, a little bit more slower. And you don't have the opportunity, or rather the ability, to be as flexible or as aggressive as one would probably want to. And for Juices, this is a solid beginning, solid start, and Cape Trick is coming about. Should still be able to pretty much deny any kind of breach. C4 is out. Does it land? It does not.
That could have been absolutely huge if they'd taken Dunny out of the equation that early on, removed the 3 nano boost, but Hydra spotted, shut down as well. The 2 quick frags doing some big damage. Cabicon going to take a bit of damage as well. The only player, in fact, that I couldn't figure out where is, whether or not they are a Mexican League player, but who knows? Obviously, being a part of the 5 stack, they must have some part in the crew. Right now, minute 20 left on the clock, and Gingy just expanding that gap for... 2 versus 5. Rovi falls as well to Badger. And it's going to be a flawless in the grand scheme of things. Mr. Pixel for the Juices finds the closer.
Juices making a good return after that absolutely spanking that was handed out to them by Landscape Co. in round number 1. Certainly looking to bounce back here. Kids Dorms and Main Hall is going to be a retry, funnily enough, from Landscape Co., as they seem to be quite certain that maybe they would be able to execute the round a whole lot better now that they kind of slowly figuring things out bit by bit. No 6 picks just yet, and it's a bit more of a straightforward pick of the defenders on the side of the attack, though. Badger bringing in the Thermite rather than the Hibana, just wants to be able to make a bigger hole here, it seems, and yeah, apart from that, nothing too big or too noteworthy, really. The whole Lion Finger combo, unfortunately, is not going to be present there, so it's only going to be Finger for Dunny. Curious if Juices will be able to repeat the success that they had here before, given the fact that it all started with the death of Clippy.
Honestly, the thing I'm most curious about, Cthulhu, so if we have this Mexican Pro League player team, Landscape and Co., that do make it through into SCS, and become a staple of the scene, and how long before NerdStreet have to hire a Spanish broadcast team?
Yeah.
10 seconds to insertion.
Could be a big question, and maybe we might get the answer for later.
Insertion.
Certainly could be a big...
Well,
Attackers are
look,
moving out
either
to
way,
the
what we do know for now is Rovi looking to get aggressive at that main lobby door. Play we can
Rovi.
see coming in from spawn, heading towards the white van.
Ooh.
Rovi very lucky to get away with
Jeez.
that. Will survive for the remainder of the round, but I mean that last one, a very commanding comeback from the Juices.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Juices were able to clap back really, really well in a very dominating fashion. So if they can make a play here as well, if they borderline repeat the success, isolate some early gunfights into their favor, that could be absolutely perfect. Ali currently playing on the white stairs, but you look at the whole lineup of Landscape Co., they are playing still a very, very hunkered down play. Grenade is out. Is it going to be out? Any Granata Pashla moments? No, none?
Maybe. He's looking
Maybe,
for a
possible.
second. Man, that couch
Come
is... I honestly, I want to know who the... whoa, okay. Not quite the way
boy.
that Clippy wanted that to go. But I want to know who the interior designer that Ubisoft hires for their level design, because there is a lot of bulletproof furniture.
I just want to know what kind of material so I could make some furniture for myself.
Mitsubishi materials.
Oh yeah, Mitsubishi materials, yes. Absolutely.
Honestly, like, could you imagine what sort of a game would be, like, Siege would be? Is it like, you know, explosion goes off, the couch in front of you gets destroyed.
Just
And speaking of
vaporized.
destroyed, Ellie. Oh my god, Dunny! Quick, clean haircut there.
Hey, wait. Absolutely ballistic, but so is Matt Bonger. Does finally get the better of Rovi, and slowly but surely the landscape are falling apart, but I say that it still keeps on going back and forth. It's all down to Hydra to try to get any kind of movement going with still a minute to go. Does get one, able to isolate one of those gunfights really well, and right now 2 of the players of Juices are still isolated. That's a 1v1, that's huge right now. Could even clutch this up. There's a jump in as well, does get the sound cue, but right now can't really land any shots. Still thinks about the push, but no! Different position, and Pixel is the one to get the better of him.
The absolute audacity of Mr. Pixel to just push that.
Yeah, just send
Absolutely
it.
insane. Juices take a second round, but Hydra came very close to clutching that up.
That was a nutty, nutty round. From the beginning of Rovi just absolutely dumpstering Dunny to the part where it got turned into a 1v3 and then Hydra nearly clutching it out. Oh man. Well, we were expecting a roller coaster of emotions, and it seems like it is going to be that way. Just as scoring themselves the second point, though, does mean that they get to keep themselves in a much more competitive state. Say things do go sideways, at least they're already guaranteed a 4-2 scoreline, which is still pretty much workable once you go into the defense. But obviously they will want to go higher, they will want to go further. 3-3 is the bare minimum at this point, and well, maybe turning into an attacker-sided 4-2. Wouldn't put it past that would be a really, really good turnout here for Juices. But again, Landscape Co. still seeming to be able to read into some of these situations rather well. And, well, you've seen it on the screens, ladies and gentlemen. They're cracked.
Absolutely insane. Badger, despite being, you know, on the Hibana, the hard support. Still gonna hit some nutty shots, especially that Type 89. Such a great setup of gunplay available for Hibana. Right now, Landscape and Co, they're only down the 1, going at around 4. They have that chance to equalize and keep things nice and competitive going into the closer. I mean, it was one of the talking points, Cthulhu, production, we're running us through, Juices, they have Razors there, and the roster hasn't really played as much of it. He's just there when he should need to be. He can jump in. But right now, playing without him, you reckon that's enough? Oh, no, Dunny getting aggressive towards Freezer stairs. The drone's going to be shot out. Mouse 1 held, but right now, Clippy's going to get himself out.
And still able to get out rather quickly. Looking to see if there's any damage to be dealt from Ali, but at the moment, Rovi back on his Rooney roams, just absolutely a deadly force. Really, that needs to be very much acknowledged by Juices and needs to be cleared out as quickly as possible. But it seems at the moment it's a bit of a quiet game. The calm before the storm, one could even say. Cabicon starting to get a little bit anxious about where the push could be coming from, where could the play be happening. But as of now, nothing really comes off it.
Well, Rovi.
Oh.
He's done some impressive stuff playing around these vert angles. I mean, round 1, rotated up in the meeting, got 2, found a 3rd, and then a 4th to close things out. But right now, he's been taken out of the equation with an aggressive roam up through the attic. Dunny keeps himself alive, has 1 nano boost still remaining. They want to get these hatches open, specifically this one into E-box, but Ali waiting. Nitro cell tossed. Once again, unfortunately going to miss its mark.
Rather unfortunate from Ali. Still could nail a few pixel shots, but unfortunately decides for the better of it and bails out. Still waits for any kind of push to happen. With Rovi out of the equation, though, that's the whole unpredictable manner out of the equation. Oh, turns around! Badger is completely fragged out and styled on. We're back to a 4v4 Panda.
Honestly, I don't know if it's LE11, LE11. Either way, Ellie is hitting some insane shots right now. Going to be hit with the concussion. Backs off just a little bit. We're in a 4 versus 4. Badger being removed from the equation. They still hadn't quite got that hatch open. They're still trying to play around these angles, going to the final 40. And still no positions really been given up.
Bomb has been located.
Overall, still quite a tight hold by Landscape Co. Still could really shut this down, and play for time could be absolutely crucial here. Juice is about to make a push here from the stage stairs, but nothing comes off it. Reinforcement last moment at the elbow as well. That's a big play here. Full on rendezvous back with the team. Right now, Juices could really be just absolutely halted.
Clippy tucked up on the corner. Gingy spots LE11, but he's prone underneath the gun. What is going on? Clippy gets aggressive. Pixel Dunny find 2 before Dunny falls. 2 seconds remaining. Pixel can't do anything, especially with Hydra's hitting shots like that. An absolutely chaotic end of the round, but one that goes the way of Mexico.
Jeez Louise, yeah, Landscape Co. able to respond back really well. And able to shut things down. All things initially pointed towards Juices to be able to just keep things up, keep it running, but bruh, that's just yeah, look, an absolutely chaotic fiesta is the only way to really describe that round. Just back and forth, but Landscape are the ones that came out the victors there. 2-2 scoreline. We're back to even Steven between the two rosters. Kitchen and Dining, though, is going to be the choice. The tertiary site is coming through. And well, with the way how things been going so far, I'm curious what will end up giving up at the end of it all. Where the cracks will start forming between the two rosters.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
Well,
bombs as they can.
2-2 this half. I mean, it's already 1-1 in this series. Of course, this matchup was going to be a highly competitive one. Landscape and Co. 4, if not 5, because I still can't quite place Cavicon, but 4 Mexican Pro League team players between M&T and
almost a
Chivas.
full stack.
I mean, these guys are among some of the best in South America, and they're coming in. Juices were always going to be playing under the gun.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, look,
5 seconds to
it's an interesting turnout. Yeah, look, you have in theory, you have a team that has quite a fair bit of competitive experience, quite a fair bit of knowledge about all different tiers within NA, and possibly even LATAM to maybe a certain degree. And you have the Juicer, a team that so far has just been playing out of their minds and being able to take a team like Landscape Co. to a third mapper, certainly presenting us with a very interesting turnout, because Juices could certainly be playing for that element of surprise, the element of just unpredictability. C4 to come out. Well, speaking of unpredictability, that wasn't the read.
Well, I mean, there's so much in it. You're battling for a spot here, and I mean, it doesn't get any easier, of course. You're going on to play Pengu's team next. So, I mean, it's one of those, like, do you almost feel more relieved if you're the team knocked out, knowing that you won't have to face an insanely cracked 5-stack after this?
I mean, no, not really. At least from the way how I see it, though. It doesn't really help, no. But at the same time, you're still missing out on possible good learning experience for yourself and for your team, and something that I would definitely think that both the teams would very much prefer, with Pixel getting the better of Ali, though. This does make things a whole lot more difficult for Landscape Co., because that's all the Wamai charges out of the equation. Dunny gets the better of Rovi as well. That's the big roamer now out of the equation. And now it's all down to the 3 remaining players of Landscape Co., who so far had a bit of a rough run overall, and the rotations coming through will still be quite costly.
And Bonga holding down Mouse 1, but it's quick fire kills to close the round out, and it's Juices who will move up into the advantage once again. 3-2 with 1 round remaining in the half. Still could go 3-3, still could go 4-2. There's still a number of possibilities that could eventuate from this final round. But what we know for sure is it is going to have to be hard fought regardless of that result.
Oh yeah, it is going to be neck and neck, absolutely, for both of those teams. Still not sure who will actually come out of this more successful, given that certainly so far both rosters have been showing some absolutely phenomenal performances, and definitely I do have to commend the Juicers. They've so far managed to keep up with that pressure. They managed to read into all that aggressiveness that Landscape Co. tried to channel in the first few rounds, but ended up absolutely shutting things down. And definitely it's something that Landscape Co. needs to be very wary about. They need to make sure that they just maybe pace themselves down a little bit, make sure that they nail some of the more of the hunker down positions, maybe start introducing a little bit more of the bulletproof cameras as well, to have a bit more of the information, or rather a bit more understanding as to what is actually happening. So, because yes, so far we've seen quite a number of turnouts where Landscape Co. would go and just flat out just face check a bunch of corners, despite being on the attack, despite being like on a relatively defensive roam. Juices pretty much play into that. They know exactly where to go, exactly where to push, and they are prepared to take some of those very wild gunfights that Landscape Co. are trying to bring it on board here.
Early contestant already, Rovi was looking to get a bit aggressive, but I mean, it has been a hit or miss. So we've seen moments of aggression which have worked, like we're just going to see from Cliffy, who goes for an aggressive run out from the shower window. But we've also seen it not work. This time around, Landscape & Co. will pick up the opener, also being Dunny once again, so no nano boost in the remainder of the round.
Could prove to be a bit of a challenge. Hydra just being a bit of a too keen maybe on some of the gunfires, just flicking through, just getting some last moment warm up maybe. For now though, yeah, look, for Juices, losing out Dunny definitely could be rather impactful. That's the frag grenades, that's the heals gone. Thankfully at this point the whole recoil buff is no longer there as well, so you can pretty much boost away at any time and know for a fact that it won't mess up any kind of aim of your teammates. For Landscape Co., this has to be one of the better setup rounds for themselves, though. A much more paced down play, a much slower approach by Juices, means that, well, for Landscape Co., they could very much play for time, and that is something that they were able to nail quite well previously.
How are you going to find a follow-up? Mr. Pixel to 4, that's the Nomad. They are looking to clear things out, and, well, it's going to be tricked there phenomenally by Hydrate. So they won't be able to get the walk-in closet badge. It still has one... Oh, exothermic remaining. They do get the drop on Ali, but Gingy presented with too many targets and overwhelming firepower, has to back off from that small window. And Flippy as well. How will Landscape and Go escaping in these situations?
Yeah, look, I'm not too sure how exactly is that being done, but it's being done quite thoroughly, might I add. Matt Bonga does get the better of Rovi finally. Still two players that are lit up, one shot away, just a stray bullet that could pretty much finish them off. But no, Capicon gets the better of just a pixel peak. Swing comes about, it's Hydra gets the better of Badger, Gingy goes down. Landscape equalized the scoreline by the conclusion of the first half. It's 3 apiece.
My. 3-3 Cthulhu going into the half. Now, I did a bit of research. So there is a player named Cabicon who's played with Matt Bonga, a North American team. But there is also a Cabicon who played for Supernova out of Brazil. So I'm not quite sure whether those are one and the same, what's going on. But there is a player who has played Tier 1 at one point named Cabicon in South America. So I would lead probably more to the fact that it is that one. But right now, 3-3, going into the attack, what can Landscape and Co. do?
Well, for Landscape, really, they need to ensure that they, first of all, nail either the info gathering game, or they just up the ante on their aggression even more. Given the fact that they were able to both hold off and play passively, but then also be able to just absolutely wildly swing and be prepared to take whatever gunfight's possible. Then this is something that they've been actually able to practice very thoroughly throughout the first half, despite the scoreline saying 3-3. The way how Landscape Co. just kept on swinging, pretty much expecting the enemy to be literally everywhere, is something that managed to work out really, really well for them. Yes, Juices were still able to overpower them for 3 rounds, but it was more so off the back of just Landscape getting maybe a little bit too careless on some of those pushes, decided to sprint into their enemies' sights, whatever it was, it just didn't go too well for them. So going into this one, bit of a similar lineup, minus the fact that Ali is bringing in a Twitch, so just more utility to remotely, very safely get rid of some of that electronic utility, and then go on throughout the day from there on.
Well, Ali going in with the Twitch drone, not going to find much of anything, unfortunately. Does have a backup in pocket, so can still maybe let's clear out some of this utility, but right now, first few moments of the round, we do see a little bit of aggression coming out of the Juices on the defense as well. So they are looking to try and match Landscape Co. that little bit before they get to the site. Right now, I mean, you just feel the tension mounting going into this round.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because this will be the one to possibly dictate the initial momentum between the two rosters. You look at the way how Juices actually set themselves up. They are playing for a very much of that kind of unpredictable kind of hiding strat and just waiting to essentially pounce on their opponents once things do get straight to the action. So interestingly enough, though, pressure does come around from the main stairs as well as at the stage stairs as well. So Rovi could certainly throw in a bit of a spanner in the works whilst all the breaches are starting to come about. And you can see that the active rotation, there's a flank watch on the stairs, there's 2 people on the hatch, there's the Hibana that is going in for the rotation. Dunny gets actually tapped away through the pixel, and that
Dunny
is
is just
freeze
not having a good
kill.
time.
Yeah, Dunny is just, yeah.
Apparently, Matt Bong is having some minor Discord issues right now, but in the middle portion of the round, there's only so much you can do in the situation. They are just going to have to carry on and hope for the best. But with another kill being found, this time it goes the way of Juices, bringing it back into the 4 versus 4. Matt Bonga still holding up towards Pillar. Frag grenade deep is not going to find much purchase on him or any of his teammates. Right now, going to the final minute, it's just the chaos that is getting it ready for this site push.
And Mr. Pixel has the actual opportunity to go for a crossfire here between himself and Badger here, and it is going to be very much the timing is of the essence. Swing comes about, Matt Bonga gets 1. There's a swing from Mr. Pixel and Cabicon, but Cabicon gets the 2. All down to Gingy and Badger. 2v3, 38 seconds to go. They could play for time, but right now Badger is tagged up to all hell.
And she does have that shield and a very decent long angle towards Pillar. Badger. Limited options. Limited utility. 24 seconds remaining, so that toxic canister going out. There's still a brief window in which they can look to make that plant happen after it expires. They get to play in the guns, but Badger falls. It's down all the way to Genji, but he pushes out with a Nitro Cell. Hydrate finds it. Landscape Code take the first round of the second half. Hydrate was a little bit quieter on the defense. Now on the attack, he's swinging and hitting some big kills.
How does that flick not break his wrists? I'm a little bit concerned for the man's health. Not gonna lie.
Early onset arthritis, it's fine.
Yeah, this is just fine. But yeah, look, we are sticking to that very close kind of contention area like we've seen so far from the scorelines of the two previous maps, as they did conclude in 7-4. Here, Landscape Co. so far, their start, yeah, like you said, absolutely perfect. It did partially attribute to the fact that Capicon was able to score a nice solid double kill lineup in the Boilers area, which certainly opened up a very large chunk of ground to Landscape Co. to take. And from there on, just Juices, unfortunately, were just held on the back foot and couldn't really do much apart from trying to bite back, but just, yeah, time management didn't work out. Badger got fragged out with the sheer lack of HP that the man had, and just from there on, it just all went downhill from there on. Now, for Juices, look, they get yet another chance. It's still not over yet. It's, as a matter of fact, far from it just yet. Landscape still need 3 more rounds to win, and sometimes the 3 rounds is the most impossible one to achieve, really. So Juices are far from being out of the competition, and they very much know this. They're ready to keep on fighting, keep on pushing. And for Badger, look, he himself will be possibly sitting around the kids' dorms looking to play a bit more, either kids' dorms or actually attic, where he could use the smoke grenades really, really well. And you can see slight cautiousness slash maybe a hint of fear with Mr. Pixel. He's not looking to contest this straight on out as aggressive as possible, knowing full well that there are probably going to be cameras out there, and Rovi, managing to sneak in the Twitch drone through. Could be big, but no, loses the drone, unfortunately, for him.
Bomb located by attackers.
Genji gonna hope to match some of the prowess that we saw out of Hydra on that Cade. Looking to get the claw trick off should they need to. Pixel having rotated as well. Out looking to contest from Armory. But Landscape Co., they seem to understand exactly what they need to do. They've got Clip8 watching from that double window over towards Dorms. Badger was there from a moment. He's pulled off the angle. They are just testing the waters. They are trying to gauge where the most resistance is going to be coming from.
Yeah, trying to find that pressure point is going to be big. Clippy already gets rid of the K charge really well, but that's one more. Another drone comes in. No, loses it out. That's rather unfortunate to give that Rovi lost now. Both of his Twitch drones now reverting back to the kind of the default state of being an absolutely cracked gunner with the F2. Could still do quite a fair bit of damage. Expects Pixel to be around the armory area, but decides to push instead to check the other angle at the trophy, and this keeps on thinking that there's nobody going to be behind, which could be a very crucial mistake. Gets the better of the camera, which does notify Hydra already. There's the swing of the bed. No! Turned around on! All of a sudden, Landscape are in a huge, huge advantage.
Rovi flips the script and says, Pixel, not today, champ. Badger throws out a toxic canister. One of his 2 that he had remaining in that situation. Now just single one. Clippy gets tagged a little bit, but one nano boost comes through, and one's still in the pocket. Genji tucked in towards games with no real avenues of getting out of there. Rovi, long range headshot onto Badger, and Ali for his 3rd of the round. Takes it, and takes it handily. Landscape Co. are looking to face up against the critically acclaimed Pingu and his team in the final round. Be faster, Goyo! Rovi, swing it!
Oh boy, yeah, Rovi knows it's a tilter, and he doubles down on that, doubles down on the mental warfare. Something that, well, could certainly be used as a very big leverage here, especially in the current situation where Juices are thinking, look, we made it this far, we managed to push this to the absolute limit, but unfortunately, as of now, it's just not looking too pretty for them. 2 rounds remaining for Landscape Co. to make it a play and take the whole BO3 for themselves. This could be the big turning point. If they can make a play here, once again, if they can demolish the laundry site one more time, this is where kind of the last nail in the coffin could be hit instantaneously. Whereas on the side of Juices, look, they need to make sure that they are just keeping it calm, and collected. Maybe call an attack pause sometime soon. Well, ideally would have been probably calling it at this round, but alas, won't be happening. On the side of their whole setup, look, it's just looking to be just about the same. Maybe a little bit more of a hunkered down setup, and one would probably pray and hope that they won't line up for Chemicon like they did before.
One can hope, and one can hope that Pixel gets the jump on, well, Rovi next time, because Rovi hit him with a 180 and said, not today. They keep missing those presented opportunities. They're going to find themselves knocked out of the qualifiers.
Absolutely. Still few possibilities here and there. Stunny looking to just keep on going. Hopefully won't get fragged out like he was before by Rovi through an absolute pixel. Hydra making his way over to the first target. Solo checks all the corners himself, but there are some drones that will be confirming certain positions, but the majority of that crusade towards one of the hatches, it's still going to be a rather quick clear out, given that the drones will confirm. Oh, that is a big position right now. Detonation there. Oh no, Badger lit up. Does not see it at all. That's rather unfortunate, and already so much utility, such an influential position cleared out.
Both Vulcan shields and ADS to boot, and Badger getting fried by his own teammates' utility there. I mean, literally could not have made it worse if you were a lobster jumping into a pot of boiling water on your own. Oh, honestly, if he'd been on cams or anything like that for even a moment longer, that could have been infinitely worse.
Yeah. Well, the moment a little bit of a fumble for the Storm, despite the fact of some of the unfortunate turnouts. Pixel back on the tilter, unfortunately gets fragged out the moment he decides to get a little bit more aggressive, and straight off the bat, Boiler's overtaken. Gingy goes down. It's all down to the 3 players of Juices, and right now this is the worst case scenario really for them.
It's all coming apart at the seams. Badger already being tagged up earlier from that Vulcan shield detonation. They've still got 4 drones in play, 35 seconds remaining. There is infinite utility remaining as well. 1 frag grenade, the nano boost, a couple of grenades coming out of the lifeline. Toxic canister going to be thrown, but once again, it is thrown with enough room at the tail end of it that they can look to make a plant happen. And that's exactly what's happening. Chemicon tucked in. Mad Bonga sees the opportunity, gets the kill, but he's traded. Rovi finds the follow-up on the Badger, who steps into the waiting arms of the F2. Dunny locked in a freezer. Clippy falls. He's going to find the kill onto Alley 11 as well.
Oh, this is big.
The plant, 5 seconds remaining. Dunny tag low. Rovi watching the cross. Hydra on the plant. Dunny needs to make something happen. He's trying to bait the shots, trying to empty the mag, but no, Rovi's not going to miss the opportunity. Landscape Co. move on to map and series point.
Jeez Louise. Landscape Co. fired up on the attack. They were quite cracked on a fair few rounds on the defense, but attack is just absolutely different breed. 3 rounds in a row currently being claimed here on the second half, and yeah, you look at some of those swings, just absolutely deadly. Maverick is proving to be just absolutely huge there for the team, and yeah, look, this is something that may be worth for Juices to look into later down the line, given the fact that, look, even we've seen during the Oceanic Challenger League, not a whole lot of the Thatcher Flores bans. A whole lot of times it was either Hibana or Maverick, just to make sure that those kind of plays were not going to be allowed, because dealing with borderline at this point, until we hopefully sometime soon we'll get the 3rd set of bans as well for attack and defense. Until then, it's at this point just choice of just the lesser evil, and at this point I think the choice was not particularly the best one, really, especially with the fact that, well, say Flores could be easily denied if you just keep on bringing in somebody like Mozzie, somebody like maybe Mute, that could shut things down, and both of these operators could still be extremely beneficial to the defense of both of the sides. But instead, look, at the moment, Landscape Co., they are just using just this ban phase to the absolute fullest, being able to bring in the Maverick and to open up those potholes that you can sit almost fully safely behind is just absolutely phenomenal.
Honestly, they banned the Flores. Yep, cool. Don't want to deal with that. Twitch has been a even bigger hassle than a Flores could have been. I mean, at what point do you ban something else like the Maverick and then prioritize mute just that little bit more? Because what Rovi is getting away with is just criminal.
Yeah. Him and Hydra just being absolutely just a banging duo. And it shows. Absolutely just phenomenal performance. Ali as well, just on those just solo gunfights, just swinging in and being able to just farm kills has been just an absolute pleasure to watch. Rovi spots the position, can't really escape with the drone, so we'll be forced to use up one more later down the line, but at the moment already, yet again, pressure coming out from multiple positions. We have the breach about to be begun at the electrical. We have the breach already at the main stairs. And there's a pressure about to be done at the rear stage stairs. So 3 different fronts that Juices have to be very wary about, have to be very cautious about where they peek, where they swing. This is where it could really ramp up.
Right now, we get into the second half of the round in just a moment. Not a single point of damage dealt, not a single significant gunfight taken just yet. And Rovi, position around that laundry hatch. They've got the E-box hatch as well. Utility dump towards elbow now going to begin. They want to flush out that position. Frag grenade just popped down through E-box into storage. We are starting to see that utility clear. Juices are finding themselves aggressed on.
Absolutely. Already so much ground has been taken. So many positions now being already cut off. No swing could be coming about unless Badger gets extra aggressive shotgun out, looking to possibly go in for the swing, but no, the breach is there. That's another peek hole now opened up onto the boiler as well. Swing comes about. Dunny is gone yet again, but finally traded out. Matt Bonger and Mr. Pixel just going absolutely ballistic. This is the shutdown, and Juices are going to be staying in this matchup for a few more moments longer as round 10 goes into their hands.
They keep themselves alive. Back within 2. The Juices have a very real possibility of pushing on to overtime here. But they've just lost the basement, which has been one of their strongest sites in the second half, which, I mean, realistically isn't saying that much, given that it is their first round 1 on the defense. But we now head up to dorms, which has been it's been an excellent site for Landscape Co. And that does not bode well if you're a fan of the Juices.
It doesn't bode well at all. Juices is certainly still going to be feeling a little bit shook and still just need to make sure that they nail their plays because, kids' dorms has been a bit of a interesting one. From the unfortunate demise of Mr. Pixel to just absolute collapse onto the side with Landscape Co. being able to figure out all the pressure points out there against the Juices. So not a whole lot of change in the operator lineup either here, so we are expecting a relatively similar setup with Pixel playing possibly around the armory/armory stairs. Curious about Rovi's drone. That's probably the big thing that's going to be present there, and given the fact that that Twitch drone could do a lot of damage. Deny that initial Cade charge would mean that Gingy won't be able to even do any kind of Cade tricking, and let alone, any kind of breach denial. And from there on, Juices at this point need to, and start expecting that the breach is going to happen, just then play for the post-breach situation, post-breach scenario. But in saying that, there's been a lot of issues with holding onto multiple fronts, and something that they could really play for themselves, but it is a double-edged sword. Both Juices could get overwhelmed, or they could really separate all the Landscape Co. players and just isolate them into the 1v1s.
That's been the biggest problem, of course. Landscape Co. Their strategy has been outmaneuver and overwhelm. So their positional game is what is allowing them to win these, on top of excellent gunplay as well. I mean, we've seen Rovi nail 2 or 3 kills in rounds with spectacular spray downs. So Juice is honestly stalling out the play just a little bit, slowing things down, allow them to dictate the momentum just a little bit. Could be what allows them back into this. But with 2 rounds where they're not allowed to make mistakes whatsoever, that could be too much of a task.
And with the continuous pressure that the rounds need to be won there by Juices if they want to stick around, that could be big. Already Rovi gets the better of those Goyo shields, ridding of so much cover as well. It's something that is just so unfortunate. Rovi still able to run away scot-free, and those are Jaeger devices all down as well. So much cover completely gone, all thanks to just a singular Twitch drone, and such a misplay by Juice as well for not denying it.
Rovi's styling on Juices right now. I mean, what, the 360 almost into the ADS destruction. Now, ammo magnets are cool and all, but once they cleared out, there's only so much you can do. And Clippy with a follow-up nade, thanks to those ADS being cleared, it's going to be huge. Rovi doubles down as Clippy falls to Matt Bongo, who's got no health to his name. Gingy dropping Capricorn, but it might be too little too late. 2 versus 2 effectively. His Hydrate is on the ground. Pixel might be able to make something happen from below with a Nitro Cell. They had no idea that he was there. Rovi spotted him. So they now have that safety to go for the pickup in the attic. Hydra should be recovered in just a moment. They've dropped him down. This could be absolutely devastating. Do they have any idea? Pixel, he's going to rotate back. He gets the lineup onto 1. And he's going to be shut down by Ellie. So Hydra might still be in play. Gingy's been spotted, but no, Ellie's going to go and get for the kill. Can he find it? He does! What a headshot! Landscape Co knocked Juices out of the qualifiers.
Jeez Louise, what a play from Ali as well to make it a 7-4 win for Landscape Co. 3 maps all go into the same scoreline, 7-4, 7-4, 7-4. Well done, as Landscape Co. do move up in the bracket as well. The BO3 does finally conclude though.
Viva la Mexico, as they will move on to the next round. Unfortunately, their run is not over. They've still got another best of 3 to play, at least after this, to book their spot in the next stage, stage 2, or split 2 of SCS Season 6. And it is Pingu and his 5 stack of absolute beamers. They won their matchup previously in the first round, 7-3, 7-2. And it's hard to put it down to one thing, but Landscape Co. just seemed to have the better grasp of what was going on at all times.
It did, though, take them a little bit to fully ramp up, to fully read into their enemies, really, which could be rather used and abused by their opponents in the next matchup. But apart from that, yeah, you are absolutely correct, Blue Panda. They just had a firm grasp on all of it. They knew exactly where to play. They had all the cracked gunners. I do have to highlight, though, Rovi absolutely just... he's an absolute demon when it came down to any kind of... Yeah, when it came down to gunfights, when it came down to usage of the Twitch drones, just an absolute menace. So did Ali as well. Ali was the player that was essentially, at least what felt like, was told, just go frag out, do your thing, we'll back you up.
I mean, look, it is what it is. It's a team composed of at least 4 Mexican Pro League players. So they're playing at Tier 1. I didn't get the time to dive too much into their history in terms of what, Cobra Elite 6 and where they've been beyond that. But they're playing at a high level of Rainbow Six Siege. They're playing and scrimming very, very good teams. Look, Juices are an incredibly good team. I mean, they've got some very, very solid players in the roster. Unfortunately, that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And there we go. We have our updated. All first round matches are done. Eclectic knocked out by Upper 5 Kazuki, which no one expected. I mean, production was, okay, look, we're going to go into the second round. It's going to be Nocturnes versus Eclectic. That's the match we want. We know it's going to be that one. Sorry, Ferme. That's not how the day goes. Which means that we now have to figure out where we're going to be going for our next best of 3. But you can see Judgment Day, Penn Island have moved through. Landscape Co. take on Noob Slayers, Nocturnes, Upper 5 Kazuki, and Shiesti versus Okami. And we've been told we're following the brackets, so we're Cthulhu. We're heading into Landscape Co. versus Noob Slayers. 4 Mexican Pro League players versus Pengu and his 5 stack. And that sets up for a rather interesting best of 3.
Who wins a Mexican Pro stack versus 1 2 times world champion back to back?
look, who knows? Maybe there's a lot of stuff that happens in SCS that makes for a rather interesting time. But look, this one is going to be a big one. And in terms of big ones, the one thing you want to make sure is that you have a solid candy game. And to make sure that you level up your candy game and take it to the next level, make sure you check out Mike and Ike, their original fruits or mega mix. Delicious, purity, chewing flavors will help you fuel your game. Power up, keep yourself playing at the best. Make sure you choose to power up with Mike and Ike's. And look, personally, I'm a big fan of sours. Love sour candy, and they have a sour mega mix, 10 different flavors. Get yourself some goodies, get yourself gaming, and look to take it to the next level. And look, let's be honest. Who's the team that needs to take it to the next level going with this? You've got one team, Landscape Co., 4 Mexican Pro League players. On the other hand, Pengu and a 5-stack of just ranked players. Which team would need it more, do you reckon?
Oh, I'm actually gonna go and say Pengu and his stack of fraggers. Yes, fragging is good and fragging is all nice. With Landscape being able to match the fragging plus the coordination that they had, I think they still will be the favorites, at least to me, going into the next matchup. Despite the reputation, yes, that the other team has, but look, I'm confident. I'm confident in Landscape Code to be able to possibly take it and just push it to be able to qualify.
Well, to figure it out, we will have to go into a full best of 3 and see just who takes it, Noob Slayers or Landscape & Co. When we come back after the break, that is going to be our next best of 3 here in the closed qualifiers, and one of those teams will be moving on into the split itself. The other one will have to wait until next time. Until we come back, no, don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.